This is it. Welcome to the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, just outside Valencia, the final two races of the 5-round sprint series. The GT World Challenge could not be closer. Just 1.5 points between the top two runners in the top class. Each of the four classes incredibly close. There is so much jeopardy here this weekend. The smallest of slips could lead to a bad qualifying position, and that would really cost you big time. So every detail being attended to here by the teams, the drivers, the mechanics, every single factor having to be nailed down. It's super competitive. So many manufacturers looking to win the big one, looking to win the classes, and it's going to be down to the final few seconds. So let's look back across the season. It started at Brands Hatch, a season full of promise, and it was a brilliant start for the second race with the Winward Racing Mercedes getting into the lead of the race. But look how competitive it is behind. Through Paddock Hill Bend, down they go, looking for positions to be gained but also to be lost. One little slip up, bang, places lost. Defending champions Maro, Engel and Lucas Auer had got it all right, sweeping through the final corner. A sweet, sweet moment. The checkered flag is there. It was close at the finish, but points in the bag gave them the points lead, leaving Brands Hatch still with 4 more rounds to follow. Round 2 involved a visit to the sand dunes on the North Sea coast of Holland, and it was Zandvoort, classic circuit with that brilliant opening corner. Tarzan slightly banked in a place full of promise but also of jeopardy. Look at the field, talk about a packed crowd, so many manufacturers duking it out for honours, and every corner was taken 2 by 2. Not everybody got around every corner. The Garage 59 McLaren going off, and a little bit of a kiss, we'll call it, as the number 48 Man Filter Mercedes made its way forward. But importantly for Team WRT, the checkered flag was for their car, and for Kelvin van der Linde and Charles Weerts, it was joy unbounded. Round 3, the Adriatic coast of Italy, Misano circuit, super tight on the run to the first corner. Look, 4, 5 abreast in the midfield. The corner turned right, followed by a left, and the bunching was up, but it was neat and tidy for McLaren at the front of the field. Garage 59 getting stronger and stronger. And then there was a moment here that Georgi Donchev will not remember fondly, because his Lamborghini tipped around, but the best sight of the day was Georgi climbing off and running away. The car, however, out of action. The wheel out of action as well. I don't want to see that in the pit lane anyhow. No injuries occurred there, but out on track, this was the moment that Benji Goethe crowns his blossoming career under huge pressure from the Winward Racing Mercedes. He held on, he held on, he held on, eventually round the final corner for a first win for Garage 59. And Benji Goethe, Marvin Kirchhofer, the happy party. The penultimate doubleheader of the season was held in the heart of France at Magny-Cours, a circuit that really provides space for some fantastic racing. And Garage 59, very much the form team, got their McLaren out front where they wanted. The real battling was in behind. There was a fair bit of push and shove, but it was all about making your escape at the front of the field, and Garage 59 did exactly that. I said there'd be a problem. There's Walkenhorst, Aston Martin somehow avoiding the tyre wall. Super, super competitive it was. And for the second race running, Benji Goethe had to suck up the pressure. The challenge was enormous, and in the end it was just under 0.2 of a second, but victory again for Garage 59. Job done at Magny-Cours. And that sets the scene for the final round of Valencia. So here we are at Valencia, the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, and the fans flocking in for this, the final brace. Final 2 races of the 2025 GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS. So let's run down the grid. 2 bronze class cars at the front. Dennis Marshall, the best of the Ferraris and the best of the Porsches. Bassi and Boost for Lion Speed. Then Tom Fleming, top in his class, Garage 59 McLaren. And in the top class, it's Lucas Auer. He's got a big advantage from 4th place. Luca Engstler, 5th. Lamborghini, that's 5 mates in the top 6, and 6 in the top 6. It's the BMW of Paradigm and Jake Dennis. Then comes Ricardo Fellow, Alessio Rivera, 5th-place grid penalty, or he'd be closer to the sharp end in his Ferrari. Thierry Vermeulen, top in the gold class championship. Can he stay there? Arthur Leclerc alongside AF Course are going well. Simon Gachet in his McLaren starts 11th. Kobe Powell, top in silver. Things looking good for the Aston Martin crew from Country Racing. Tracer attempting, and Benji Goethe down in 14th. It would have been a disaster, but 2 cars close to him in the championship are starting further back. Loris Spinelli will be 50th. Christian Engelhardt, great to have them back after the fire at Misano. And then Cesar Gazzo, Jens Klingman, look for him, he's been going well this weekend. Patrick Niederhauser, equal 3rd on points, starting down in 19th. But that still puts him several positions over the overall leaders, which is 23rd on the grid, car 32, Charles Weerts for Team WRT. Let's work backwards. Marvin Dietz, look for him. Sandy Mitchell, Barwell due a good result, you could be sure of that. And then tucked behind them, UNX Racing settling in, Matteo Detri alongside Julian Hansers, who's come onto the Sansalot crew. Then Rodrigo Almeida, first sprint start for him, Mateo Villagomez, Gilles Stadbader, and then several crews at the back, unfortunately didn't set a time due to track limits. So look out for the car at the very back in 39th position. It's the Ziggo Tempesta Sport Ferrari, and Eddie Cheever Jr. was actually fantastically fast in qualifying, so he'll be one of, well, I'd say 39 cars on the grid, 38 trying to gain places on the opening lap. But up front, on the right-hand side of the screen, it's the Ferrari from Kessel Racing. It's Dennis Marchal, Bastien Bous alongside. And you have to look almost out of the back of the shot to see the championship-leading car that is in 23rd position. Charles Weerts trying to plot his course, waiting for the lights to go from red to green. They're red, they're red, they're green. Who's going to make the best start down the middle of the order? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 abreast. Sandy Mitchell getting on the grass in his Lamborghini for Barwell Motorsport. It looks so Kessel have just about prevailed, but trying to go through the middle fleetingly was Lucas Auer. Kessel, front 3 cars, front 4 cars running grid position. Marvin Dietz is off into the neighbouring county. He'll rejoin in that Aquarine Winwood Racing Mercedes. He's gained quite a few positions and looking to, well, several cars. Rally crossing, you have no grip on the grass. Oh dear, 2, 3 abreast. But now let's see, we've got a couple of cars, 3, 4 cars off behind. It was Domino's. Hold on, looking to see it's the number 32 car. No, it's the Paradigm car. It's a yellow sector, you can say that again. And there we are, Sandy Mitchell, such a good start for him. Oh, carrying a McLaren's bodywork on the front of the Ferrari, and I'm afraid Bedlam is what occurred on the opening lap. For the first 2 rows, it got very tight, but they carried on in their starting order. For those behind, certainly not the case. Waiting for any other signals. There's going to be quite a bit of debris to clear up, but at this point, it's green for these runners. The CSA Racing McLaren's gone flying forward. That's gone from about 11th position for Simon Gachet up to about 4th. But for Dennis Marshall, started on pole position, safety car. There is absolutely no surprise that's called out. So let's go through. Dennis Marshall from first to first, in behind Bastien Bous, Tom Fleming in third, and then from 11th on the grid up to 4th, definitely the star of the, or maybe the beneficiary of other people's errors, Simon Gachet. Job beautifully done by him. And these are not the walking wounded. These are the ones that managed not to have contact. But for the Paradigm 991 BMW, I'm afraid that's been something they didn't want to see.
It was carnage, wasn't it? And that car was on the inside of turn 2. I think it got together with Sandy Mitchell. Dylan Pereira then came almost backwards into turn 2, and that's where the chaos kicked off. You saw the 52 Ferrari wearing a McLaren front bumper. It was the worst disguise I've seen since the last Halloween party I was at, and I'm sure this car got hit. This was the car that got hit by the Audi championship leader. We said 23rd place you can get hit from the back, from the front, from the right. It was the left. That's done. Day done for that car. Rear left suspension is hanging off. Completely innocent. He was 4 wide into turn 1. The damage there, he needs to slow down. That's going to fall off relatively soon. Sandy Mitchell was on the grass before turn 1, after turn 1, and I think there was contact there. Benji Goethe, our 2nd place in the championship. Day done for that car. Well, all we've got left is Rutronic and the Winwood car in the top part.
So let's take another look at the start. For the first few rows, it's good. Look for the yellow Mercedes trying to come through the middle. It's running from about 3rd at the moment. And then Lucas Auer, I thought this could push could come to shove and he gets squeezed out. But the first 4 cars, Tom Fleming on the inside in 3rd place, all fine. Jake Dennis had a bit of a push, but he came through in 5th place. The trouble came from about this gaggle of cars. Just out of shot. Okay, this is the view looking, running very, very, very wide. Marvin Dietz that takes the prize for that. But up to turn 2, it looks okay. Look for cars going onto the grass. Just out of shot. They may see them coming into the middle pack now. Yeah, there was a contact. Oh, okay. So that was where Charles Weerts took the damage. He got the thump up the back, broke that rear suspension.
As we go back to green, and there's a quick restart, and some of the drivers not ready. Bastien Bous, one of those. He was nearly caught napping by Fleming, and now we're back to green. Fleming on the attack.
Well, I tell you what, that restart came much, much sooner than I expected with all that debris to be cleared. But this is fantastic for Dennis Marshall as they fight behind him. He's able to get a bit of clear air between the tail of his Ferrari and the best of the rest. It's still Bastien Bous. Fleming nearly made it work. And look at Thierry Vermeulen. He's moving. He's trying to go around the outside. Does go around the outside of Simon Gachet. Tip-top move on a circuit that has very short straights, but he was committed and he stuck to his guns.
He asked a massive question to Gachet there. Are you going to leave me room? And he really squeezed it. He's fired up. Red Bull running through his veins. Super aggressive. Great move. Now Gachet on the back foot. Engsler trying to get down the inside. They're in the championship HUD. Got another yellow flag in sector 1. Let's keep our eyes on this battle. I think Gachet is kind of out of position. He had a good start, but hasn't got the pace at the moment to stay in 5th place.
Well, all incidents under investigation, that's standard practice, but the steward's going to be very busy indeed. Now, look, effectively likely to take the lead in the championship. The car that's dropped one to 8th position now, I think it is. It's the yellow and green Mercedes car 48. Says 004 on the windscreen, but that's its position in the pro class. But right now, the Winward Racing team will be getting on the radio saying your 3 championship challengers have all hit trouble. And just stay where you are. Gain a place if you feel like it. Take no risks.
Engler is trying to look to the inside. He's going to have to tuck in. Dirtier's a problem here through 12. This is the threading of the needle with oven gloves. 150, 160, flat through 13. Is he going to send it to the inside? There is a gap. Is he going to try and break late? The problem is the car gravitates to the right, gets it done. Can he stop it on the apex? It is a no. And it's going to be an undercut for Gachet. This is letting Auer get involved, but he's in an awkward place where he's going to trip over. Expect the McLaren to reclaim this position into turn 1.
Who blinks first? Down. It is down. The start finish straight to the first corner, but it's the McLaren on the inside. And Luca Engster, don't forget, already a race winner, and he pulls in front. I think that was actually quite sensible from Gachet. And look how quickly he's getting clear. I think that was a little message coming through. You know, I'm going to get past you come what may. And Luca Engster was trying high, he was trying low. And then in behind, well, it's everyone else. Gosh, the handling of that Mercedes in the middle of that pack, it's looking as though he's going around the outside of a very old coin that had 13 sides, but certainly chunk around the corner.
Gachet, I don't know if he's got a problem, but he's got no defence whatsoever. He's let 2 cars go around the outside of him now, and he's at the sharp end of the field. If he'd got his elbows out ever so slightly more, and even in a fair fashion, in my opinion, he could be in 4th place in this race, as we see one of our other early victims.
Oh, look, poor Ivan Klemenko, head in his hands in the pit lane. I'm sure there was some contact for Santalot Racing. However, this is our race leader running in the bronze class. The black and white Porsche in the background is still giving chase, but Kessel Racing's number 74 Ferrari looking neat, looking tidy, and more to the point, looking 4 seconds clear of the field. Needs to get more than 6 because bronze class cars an extra 6 seconds at a standstill, but he's not putting a wheel wrong.
No. He'll watch this race back this evening and go, that happened behind me. I didn't see any of that. I just drove around in circles for he's probably going to do 35 minutes of the race is my prediction. So far 13 laps in. He's 4 seconds ahead of Bastien Bus in the championship as well for that bronze class. Now, as we're potentially going to get a full course yellow, the 11 car there, the come to you, Aston Martin off in the gravel trap. And this is the race I'm expecting. Don't worry about the flame out the exhaust there, but that's got to be a full course yellow for that car stuck on the exit of T8, T9 area.
Yeah, that's Rodrigo Almeida, was having his first start in a sprint cut race, and you can never tell from that. Did he jump? Was he pushed? But anyhow, off the circuit. Now coming into the pits. Oh, the Ferrari coming in. This really tight battle on track, and we've only had Klingman with a shorter BMW there, is certainly tucking in behind. You talked about a race into the pit lane, and that very much nearly came unstuck there for Arthur Leclerc.
Yep, 4 tyres getting changed, 18 seconds. There's the 21 Kobe Powells. They're released. They could stop a lap earlier. CSA have done a good stop. Everyone's got to go in clean. You can see Vermeulen there. They've jumped in front of Garage 59. Great stop from Emil Frey. Thomas Vermeulen has been, very critical of that team. But is that a relatively quick stop as well for Winward? They've jumped in front of the McLaren. Slow stop for WRT. The Almanar car has dropped back now with Alfaizo Al-Zubair in. Great stop. This is going to be championship lead getting closer for this car.
And importantly for Mauro Engel, as he takes over the number 48 Mercedes, they gained a position ahead of the CSA Racing McLaren, and that was music to their ears. That's what we've been trying to do for lap after lap. We've got the 4 different races embedded together. He's only got 1 race, and that is to score as many points as he can in the pro class, and he's going on towards doing that, I'd suggest. And here he is. He waited, now he dives in. 6 seconds in the bag. Bastien Bus, no doubt, will follow in the Lion Speed Porsche, and then Ricardo Feller, also for Lion Speed in his Porsche. But right up at the top end of the pit lane, pit in, quite a nice tidy pit, and there is Dustin Blattner. Grabs the door handle, opens the door.
I'm surprised they've boxed. They could have squeezed definitely 1, if not 2 more. Bus is going to do another one for sure. So that is a Bus in lap potentially versus a Blattner out lap. So this battle isn't done. This car's doing at least 1 more lap. Yes, the undercut strong on the fresh tyre, but the amateur is going to negate that slightly. So I think Bus will be in this lap.
I think there could have been 1 further lap. Maybe caution, maybe the Kessel Racing team have done the maths, worked out on the positional map where he's going to slot back in. However, the deed is done. The Kessel Racing Ferrari waiting to get going. and still pressing on the track. Now we've got the second drivers in almost every car. Chris Lullum really trying to fly in the gold class, leading Ferrari.
He's going to become race leader as well, as we see probably Blattner just coming into shot because of the bronze stop being longer by necessity. There's our leader, there's our second place car. Then comes Pepper. So I think actually Engel is just going to get past this 74 Ferrari into turn one any second.
Well, that's a dream gain. Maybe one further lap for the Kessel Racing car would have stopped that from happening, but they've got their own battle. They're running in the bronze class, and it's where is Bastian Boos, or more to the point, where will Basha Mardini be when he resumes in the race? But settling down, Dustin Blattner has to quickly get on his game. He's just had the CSA Racing McLaren give him trouble. Full course yellow. I thought the pace was suddenly dropped. He's in third overall in his Grasso Lamborghini. Then and fourth place overall. There is the proof that Mauro Engel, remember that Mercedes dropped to seventh place on the track before the pit stops. They've worked that very nicely, of course, helped by the bronze class cars that were first and second taking longer pit stops. Moved them up the order. The Kessel Racing Ferrari in sixth place overall as it went through. Dustin Blattner at the wheel. Everyone running at a bated pace, a maximum pace behind full course yellow. But right now, leading the race by 6 and a bit seconds. Chris Lullum leading the field around, waiting for the restart. But he's got a very comfortable cushion. And the fact that as soon as he got out of the pits, cracked in the fastest lap of the race, fuel load getting lighter, him pressing on, looking really strong.
There's something to add. Jeopardy for the 69. Chris Lullum did the fastest lap of the race on his outlap. What was on his outlap? The yellow flag for that 11 car. Hard one, because you can't improve your sector time, but he didn't improve it. As we go back to green, that was quick, and that's what we thought Neubauer was lining up, and he's gone. And so's Blattner. This is a great restart from Blattner over the CSA McLaren.
Yeah, the CSA McLaren not looking particularly hooked up. You said the Ferrari was getting busy. He's already picked off the Aston Martin of Jamie Day and now Dustin Blattner as well. In some ways, he's slightly irrelevant there. He had nothing to lose. But Blattner leading the bronze class and Jamie Day leading the silver class championships. They can't afford to have any mistakes. They didn't want contact, led him through. But I just think that was a case of Thomas Neubauer going, I'm coming anyhow. Let's run down the order. Chris Lullum leading the way. And another gold class challenger in behind Louis Pret. Jordan Pepper, best of the pros. Mauro Engel just 2 seconds, 3 seconds down on him, but so many bunches of cars. And the group that really lost out, well, Dustin Blattner, 7th place overall. There's definitely a bit of bodywork rubbing there. We saw the push and shove, and you'd think it was probably on Matisse Lismont's BMW. Now they're monstering Basha Mardini, and he's just, well, being a little bit cautious, but then again, 1, 2, 3 come through. What can you do when you're being pushed wide?
Now he can steady the ship, but he's been offline for 4 or 5 corners. There will be marbles all over his tyres. They'll be vibrating, taking the fillings out of his teeth. He now just needs half a lap to really concentrate, get the pace, settle it down, clean those tyres up. How do you clean the tyres? You put a bit of steering lock on, you induce a bit of understeer, you jump on the throttle, you slide the rear, you just strip the top surface of those tyres off, as we see Max Janssen now with Muller behind him. Muller's got great pace at the moment. No points for 12th, no points for 11th. He needs to get past Janssen and then do something about Ben Green, who's another 3 seconds up the road on that red Paradine BMW. Here is our gold class championship leader. This is the season finale, of course. That's why we're talking so much smashing the curb. He is not backing out of this, is he? He is pushing like his life depends on it. Does he think he's going to get a penalty for improving that sector under yellow flag? Yes, I'm always on the drivers' committee side, but how do race controller judge it? He's improved the sector of Vermeulen, who was on older tyres. He's on his outlap. He hasn't improved his personal sector. He's improved the car's sector. I hope they're innocent. I get the rule. You've got to slow under yellow, but he's saying I slowed enough, and that's going to be the battle. Of course, there's video, there's data. That will be trawled through, and race control will ultimately come to the correct decision.
Oh dear. For Lion Speed, it looked like a fantastic race meeting. We've just lost one of their cars. Ricardo Feller started, and Gabriel Rindon, well, it looks like he's going to be able to continue, but that has lost him a whole heap of positions. And he was running, I think, 3rd in class yellow sector, but he got going again pretty quickly, so I'm sure that will move. So 8.5 minutes left. Can we have a gold class car win outright? It's never happened before. And what have we got in this race? 2 gold class cars, 1st and 2nd. Chris Lullum, 8 seconds now clear in his Ferrari, ahead of Louis Pretz. Porsche McLaren running in 2nd place. The best of the pros is Jordan Pepper in 3rd. Sven Muller here still pressing on, and you know what? A gold class car has never won overall, so you've got to say that is going to be broken. The last sprint win for a car that wasn't a pro class car was right here, Valencia, 3 years ago, 2022, when Ulysses de Pauw and Pierre-Jean-Alexandre managed to come through to take victory, but this is going to be a double blow for the pros. However, that's how you like it. The 4 different classes, who cares who wins? We don't, we just love the racing, but for the gold class, this is going to be a real feather in their cap.
Pepper's the man on the move, second faster than Pret on the last lap. So this could be a change for second overall. We know how aggressive Jordan Pepper is. Speaking to him at lunch, he doesn't agree with any of my statements. He's always the man that seems to get the penalty. Is it going to be a lunge? I asked him, can he do it clean? He assures me he's going to be able to keep his mirrors on that Lamborghini Huracan run by Grasser. They got the Tempesto car in front as well. That could be a bit of a distraction for both of these cars, but at the moment, really, Pepper has to throw this to keep themselves in the championship. They need all the points they can get, and at the moment, that McLaren is stealing second place points off them.
Yep, they came here 5th overall, very much an outside hope, but you'd have to think they were given, you know, at least a little bit of hope by problems for 3 of the outright championship challengers, most notably the cars that came here first, Van der Linde and Weers, the car that came here second, Goethe and Kirchhofer. Muller and Niedhauser also had their problems. They dropped down the order, but they're fighting back. But, well, you really couldn't write it. Right, is the outside offering any chance? Louis Pret covers it on the inside. It's coming, it's coming. Not quite yet. The South African not getting through. Loves to race, loves to chase. Oh, the pressure really coming on. But for now, Louis Pret hanging on.
This is such a good onboard. We've got so much front grip here on the Lamborghini. He's able to place it on top of the curbs. The McLaren in front looks lethargic. Look how much steering lock he's having to put in and still miss it. I think Pepper's got a really good chance here. I have to say the Zigo Tempesta car did a mega job. Pulcini getting out of the way into turn 2 to allow these two a clean fight. Where's Pepper going to go? He's seen how much pace he's got. Look how tight he can keep the car. There's a bit of a rub there. That actually unsettled Pepper more than Pret. Pepper ready to assault Pret at any given notice.
He is, and while this is happening, unsurprisingly, the race lead continues to extend. Best part of it, over 11 seconds clear now. Chris Lullum counting down the laps, the end of the race. In the background of the shot, the car that's 4th in the race, that's the Man Filter, the yellow and green Mercedes, and that is going to vault very nicely to the very tight end at the top of the championship in the Pro Class. Might end this race in 4th overall. Would like to get up with this battle, and commentator alongside me, Joe Osborne, leaning back in his seat as the pressure comes on down the start-finish straight. Is turn 1 the place to make a move? I'm not sure. What do you reckon?
This is nail-biting. Pret can't make an apex, but is doing so well at carrying the speed. I think this is a chance. He's defending. It's a long way round the outside here for Pepper. Is he going to try and get the undercut? Is he just going to try and go all the way around the outside? The outside is so hard to make work. He's still there through the kink of 3. This will be the inside for 4. This is job done if he can get it stopped. Phenomenal racing from both. Can Louis Pret do anything on the exit? I don't think so. Mega clean racing. Hats off to both of them, especially Jordan Pepper for keeping both mirrors on that Huracan.
Don't you love a move that takes place, set up in turn 1, 2, 3, 4, all a job in progress, but he got the job done. And another second place overall seems to be coming the way of the Grasser Racing team. Of course, they tasted victory at Magny-Cours, also took a second at Magny-Cours, so they're really among the form crews, and they'll be the top pro crew to the finish. But here we are with 2 minutes left on the clock, and having got past, again, this fantastic drone shot, it really takes you to the racing, and to be able to see the cars from above, you can just see how dynamic they are. And at this point in the race, as you pointed out, just see how they're struggling. Oh, for Boots and VDS, a bad day has turned worse. They're challenging the Silver Cup class off, and
Chavez
Hawk
there.
and Horse Motorsport, Aston Martin up into the back of the Mercedes. Very unfortunate indeed. This is the final, the lap of the race. This is the line from turn 14 down towards the checkered flag. And there it goes, the first ever outright win for a Gold Cup class car. And Thierry Vermeulen smiles all around already. You can be sure on the phone, on the radio, will be Max Verstappen, who's put this team together. And a brilliant job for them. Jordan Pepper comes through to take second place overall. Third place, Louis Pret did hang on to that with Mauro Engel tucked in behind. What a race of incident. And then looking down through the classes, Jamie Day ought to be coming round in that number 21 Aston Martin. 8th overall, be fine. Doesn't matter if he lost a place or 2 out of the track. He's got the job done. Got the title won in the Silver Cup class.
What a race. Lap 1 was messy. There were some mistakes. We don't want to see cars damaged. But from there onwards, phenomenal driving from everyone out there, and just didn't know where to look. And this is why, for me, it's the best motorsport. Yes, we've never had it better, I don't think, in motorsport. The amount of racing out there. But this is the GT Championship, the motorsport championship to watch wherever you are in the world. And fair play to everyone. Chris Lullum, Thierry Vermeulen have been classed today, as has that 21 car, to clinch the silver championship.
But let's go down now. Jamie Day and Kobe Powells.
Our provisional silver champions. Boys, you have been the benchmark of the season. I have spoken to you repeatedly. You always come out on top and you drive just consistently well, and that was the best drive of your life.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, I have to hand it to Kobe and the team. You know, the pit stop was a mega. I got a nice gap, obviously, to Bootson, and then after that was just about bringing it home. Having a little bit of a battle with the bronze cars and the golds, but yeah, the main thing was just bringing it home in one piece.
Kobe, watching you in the garage as you're watching Jamie do his stint, I can't even imagine the pressure that you guys were under.
Yeah, we were under a lot of pressure. You know, it's been a tough season, but we did it. I know this team now for 3 years, or 3.5 years, and it really is a family. So a huge thanks to them. The car has been super strong this season. Thank you to Aston Martin and my great teammates. So it's a team effort, and now we can finally celebrate. Tomorrow we can race without pressure, and we will see what we can do.
Congratulations.
Well, let's take a look at the Race 1 classification. Once penalties were applied, Thierry Vermeulen and Chris Lulham fell from first down to fourth, and that promoted Luca Engster and Jordan Pepper to victory, and that really propels them. They're the outside hope when we came here, but suddenly it's a 5-car championship battle, and they've moved right in close. It's super close. We'll show you the points table soon, but certain winners and losers. Tom Fleming, Louis Pret took the gold victory, and Gilles Stadsbader and Lismon came out top in silver. So it's all change. So looking down over the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in the hills just outside Valencia. This is it. This is the final round, the final race of 10 in the GT World Challenge Sprint Series powered by AWS for 2025. The trophies are there. There are going to be some new names on those, you can be sure. Only one of the 4 championships has been clinched. We just heard from Jamie Day and Kobe Powells. They landed the Silver Cup class. But when we look at the points, and I'll go over those with Joe Osborne, it could not be closer. Temperature, Joe, creeping up. Humidity falling. That's good. We had a little flurry of rain earlier, but track temperature is definitely going to be an issue for the tyres. 30 degrees, there or thereabouts, but it's a warm afternoon. A little bit grey here, but the racing is going to be furnace hot.
It really is. We saw that yesterday, didn't we, in race 1. Similar conditions to yesterday, so hopefully the teams will have their eye in at least.
Well, who won yesterday? Jordan Pepper and Luca Engster. Let's hear from them.
Jordan, you delivered under immense pressure this morning. If you win this race, you boys will clinch the title. How much faith have you got in both yourselves and the team?
Yeah, I mean, all the faith in the world. That was the aim coming into the year for sure when we put this package together. So not been the easiest of years, but as it goes, it's the same for everyone. You know, everyone's had their ups and downs. We had them early on, so we've been clawing back ever since, and the belief is high. So regardless what happens, I'm just really proud of this whole effort. We've given it our everything, and we saw that this morning. I think my emotions came out for that reason, and yeah, let's see what happens. We're up against some really tough competition, and yeah, just believe in the boys. Let's get it done.
Some words from you, Luca, before we go to the anthem.
Copy paste what Jordan said. We see what comes out in the end. I mean, everyone does everything for that program, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
How much jeopardy could the weather throw into the mix?
Well, it's the same for everyone, right? So I believe we had a good bench of engineers behind that know what to do when, and we believe it stays dry, but we are prepared for all scenarios.
Powers are on, boys.
Thank you very much, Alex Legee. And not only did they deliver yesterday, getting up to second place from way down the order, being promoted to victory. Look, there is their car on pole position. Jordan Pepper did a fantastic job this morning in qualifying. But unlike yesterday when the championship challengers, Joe, were scattered down through the field, we've got 5 crews in with a shot at this title, and 4 of them are in the first 3 rows. The outlier, just see on the right hand of your screen, the yellow and green Mercedes starting 16th. That's equal in the lead of the championship. They're the ones with a mountain to climb.
Yeah, they really are, and that's where we saw the WRT car get caught up yesterday, and that's the problem of the middle pack start. You suddenly get caught up in other people's accidents.
Well, just waiting for the strains of the national anthem to ring out, and then we'll pile back down to the grid to get you some more interviews. But the stage here at Valencia is well and truly set. And just waiting for the fans to stand up. They've got a fantastic vantage point on top of the pit building, the giant grandstands around the first corner. And there is the Spanish anthem. So as the national anthem of Spain fades away, we've still got one more endurance round. That's also in Spain in 2 weeks' time at Barcelona. But right now, it's all eyes on the grid, absolutely packed, 20 rows of cars. And so many manufacturers. And let's just also point out a fantastic run in the split qualifying session to have a silver class car on the front row, the Boutsen VDS Mercedes of Cesar Gazo and the driver who'll start it, Aurélien Panis. But looking down the order, some cars that have featured at the front end of the championship are at the front end. But let's go down to Benji Goethe, Garage 59 McLaren, very much in the mix.
Benji, you boys are strong contenders, but you have to get in front of the Lambo to win. Are you playing for strategy, full attack? What's it going to be?
I think it's last race of the season for sprint. You know, it can be any tight in the championship between quite a few cars. Obviously, the Lambo in front of us is one of the contenders also. So, you know, our aim is to try beat them. You know, how that happens, we'll see how the race pans out. The weather looks a bit mixed for the race, maybe a bit of rain at the end. So it'll be an interesting one. Let's see. Anything can happen.
Take it home, Benji. Well done.
Anything can happen. Well, that very much was the story of the first two corners yesterday when it got overly busy and almost all of the challengers got taken out, bar one.
So here we have the FPV drone. This was shown live, first time ever in motorsport. We've had a full FPV drone lap, and it was the pole lap. Dennis Marshall, the 74 Kessel Ferrari, through the kink of three. This is where Pepper went round the outside a little bit. Yes, it was a great move. And then we go to this technical middle sector here, all second gear, 85, 90 kilometers an hour apex speed, flowing left to right. And this is where we need to be careful of track limits. On the corner exit here at 6, you've got to keep one wheel on the white line. And Dennis Marshall doing it well. This back straight kink into 8. We saw lunges on the left, on the right here. And it's a double apex, so you have one go at the corner, you let it run wide, and you take it back in. Now through this flat out chicane, the left, the right, and then the next brake zone at 11. I expect to see fireworks here as cars lunge down the inside. We now finished sector 2 and we go through the fastest corner of the lap. Turn 12, it's uphill. There's a big sausage curb on the inside. Some drivers still smashing the huge curb on the inside, but that forces them wide, sometimes into the gravel on the left. This flat out kink 13, which dives downhill into the trickiest corner of that. 14, downhill, off camber, ever tightening, and again, track limits prevalent on the exit. Pit entry is on the right. All cars will have to do one mandatory pit stop 25 minutes into the race for 10 minutes. That pit window is open. And that was 4.006 kilometers of the Valencia Ricardo Tormo circuit.
Now, imagine that with 39 cars out there. Let's go down and hear from the Team WRT BMW drivers with Alex.
Boys, yesterday was brutal, but WRT know exactly how to win here. What's the attack? Is it full attack? Is it strategic play? How's it going to be?
It's a final. We love a final. So I think yesterday's race was chaotic. We lost out, unfortunately, but hopefully the tables turn today.
Charles, yesterday we heard it was really lovely hearing the radio from Will just after the incident. And I wondered from a driver's perspective just how much that measured approach makes a difference to you and how you cope after an incident.
I have to say I don't even know which radio you're talking about because I was so... my brain was somewhere else at that moment because I was really disappointed, of course. It's, I think, our first DNF since... my first DNF in sprint since actually Valencia in 2022. I don't remember having a DNF since then, which was also one of the key of our success in the last years. But yeah, that one was obviously not a fight, was just unavoidable. Yeah, I mean, Kelvin did an amazing job this morning to qualify right in the mix in the front. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to be second, nobody wants to be third. We only remember who is champion, who will finish first, so that's definitely our target. We have the best boys in the in the pit stop. The other teams know it, so for sure the pressure is on them. We may be leading the championship, but at the end, it's only the winner today that will get a championship. So now we are actually virtually the hunters, not anymore the hunted. And I can only guarantee one thing: maybe we will not be champion, maybe we will be, but for sure we will give our best, and that's what matters.
Love it. Fighting talk. Full attack, boys.
Thank you very much. And as the crews put their helmets on, 5 crews could yet win the overall title. There's one of them. That's the Rutronic Racing Porsche. That's the outside. That's the 5th of the 5 crews. They have to finish 8th, or they have to be really in the top 3 positions to have a chance. But the others, we've got 2 crews side on 72 points. That's Lucas Ayer and Mauro Engel with the yellow and green Mercedes. We've got Kelvin van der Linde, Charles Weerts, we heard from them, the Team WRT BMW drivers. Just 1.5 points further back, Benji Goethe and Marvin Kirchhofer. And let's go and join Alex back down on the grid with the latest interview from Garage 59.
Boys, this is turning into being a very, very good year for you. What's the pressure like as you sit here in the 3rd row of the grid?
Well, we're the guys behind in the championship, so we've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So Louis did an amazing job during qualifying once again, which has put us pole for the gold class. So long as we can hold that during the start, then we look to be setting ourselves up for another really good race again.
We look forward to seeing how it plays out.
Thank you. That was the thoughts of Tom Fleming, and he's in a strange position that he hasn't done every race with Louis, and Louis, therefore, could still become champion in gold. The deficit was reduced from 4.5 points to 3.5 to Chris Lullam and Thierry Vermeulen by dint of the extra point for pole position. But it's ifs and buts and maybes. But I just want to go back to the overall battle. Yesterday, the car that is equal in championship with this one started 23rd, and yet they still are now level on points. But down in 16th, Mauro Engel and his teammate Lucas Ayer have got the hardest job of absolutely anybody in this top 5 championship battle. They're equal in the points lead, 72 points apiece, along with the Team WRT BMW. Everyone else, though, is close behind. Really, they know one thing: it's victory or nothing.
Yeah, Mauro Engel not in the car yet, and I know some cars are autonomous. You can see him strolling down the grid there, suit halfway down. He's very relaxed and relatively late to the car. I'm sure he's happy with his procedure, but some drivers like to get in early, do a few mental preps. Visualization is key, of course. Hard to visualize what's going to happen on the first couple of corners with 38 other cars around you, but I always personally like to have a plan A, B and C at least of where I was going to place the car, and that's really what happened yesterday in the race. Lots of cars running wide out of turn 1, and then suddenly we were 6, 7 wide, and then it funneled back into 2. And that was the ignition point for the carnage into turn 2. Yeah, really the main problem was a couple of cars. One car powered another onto the grass, and mysteriously cars don't slow down on grass, and so the cars minding their own business in turn 2, including the then championship leading Team WRT BMW, were sitting ducks as they rejoined the tarmac. In the bronze class, the title battle is not done yet. It's very tight indeed. But let's go down to Alex for the latest interview from the grid, just before the big one.
You're not getting a chance, unfortunately, to speak to Mauro, who is one of the last to get in the cars. Everything to play for. They start P15 on the grid. Qualifying didn't go to plan, but they're still topping the table and defending champs. But I wonder what will give them the belief from this far back.
Well, certainly very, very tricky indeed. Maybe Mauro just popped up the grid for a little bon mot to some of his rivals, but you know, he's been there, seen it, done it, but never from this far back, surely, particularly with all the other 4 championship cars that are tilting for the overall title being in the first 3 rows of the grid. In first, in 3rd, 4th and 5th. And the interloper, of course, is the Boutsen VDS Mercedes outside of the front row. That's running in the silver class. Not to dwell on it, we've got 1 minute to start a formation lap. Of course, Mauro Engel's going to get in the car, belts done up, window, net, radio and drinks done quickly, but still, that is a very late getting ready procedure. Certainly is. Pole in the bronze class, Darren Lung getting the job done. Let's hope they go further than yesterday. Pole in silver, outside of the front row, Boutsen VDS, Aurelien Panis, and a great job from Philippe Pret to take the gold pole, but the overall pole, and it was right down to the final seconds of qualifying, goes to the Grasser Racing Team, and of course they finished second yesterday, but took the points for victory when penalties were applied, and that made it a fantastic run to the end of the season. The last few races have produced a first, a second and a first. Their first 2 races of the year, Joe, they picked up a 24th and a 16th. So a disaster at Brands Hatch. They've been fighting back ever since. And in the GT World Challenge Sprint Series, you pretty much need to score in every single round. So they really were starting the season on the back foot.
Yep, and they are the informed team, as Jordan Pepper reminded everyone, just as Charles Wirtz reminded everyone there, the pit stop guys. WRT yesterday with the 30 car, you can see the blue car a couple rows behind their main contender. 46.6 pit in to pit out. Everyone else in the 49s, so have WRT got a couple of seconds over everyone else in the pit stops.
Well, it could be absolutely vital. You'll spot there was a car at pit exit or still up on its jacks. That'll be a pit lane start. But pole position, the Lamborghini from Grasser Racing Team, Jordan Pepper, alongside the Silver Star, Aurelian Panis, Boots and VDS Mercedes. Marvin Kirchhofer, one of the championship challengers, Garage 59 McLaren, alongside Team WRT, Kelvin van der Linde in his BMW, likely to be fast in the pits. Also in the championship hunt, Sven Muller for Rutronic Racing with his Porsche. Louis Pret leading the way in gold. He's second in the gold class on points though, but may yet come out top. Chris Lullen, a winner yesterday for a while. A penalty dropped him from first to fourth. Max Janssen alongside. Then Alex Acker, best placed Audi on the grid, with Matisse Lismont really finding good form for Team WRT in the silver class. Jamie Day, Come To You Racing, already a champion. Silver class landed yesterday. Some big names way down the grid, but look to 16th place, equal in the championship lead. That is where Mauro Engel is starting, only just ahead of the halfway point in this 39-car grid. Faisal Al-Zubair, he'll hand over to Jens Klingman. That car's going better and better. Barwell Motorsport really need a good result here. They've had a rotten time thus far. Darren Lung on top in the Paradigm competition in bronze. He needs something to make him smile, and certainly that pole was good. Dustin Blattner starting 23rd. He leads the bronze class on points, but we've got this 1 hour race still to go. And two of the AF Corsa Ferraris way down the grid, 25th. And look, Thomas Neubauer, he got a 7th place drop for causing a red flag. He'll start down in 29th position. Final few roads of the grid. I'd expect to see Ben Green. That was a rotten qualifying for him. Definitely to move that Emil Fry Racing Ferrari up the order. Just remember though, yesterday we had a real pool collision when we got up to turn 2. A lot of cars were tipped over like skittles. Let's hope that's not going to happen this time, but there is no guarantee that it won't. It's always so competitive around the first few corners at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo Centre circuit just outside of Valencia. 14 turns knitted into 4 kilometres. The pack has been shuffled. Yesterday we had the championship leaders spread all the way down to 23rd on the grid, and now 4 of them are in the top 5 positions, but we're going to keep an eye out all race long to see the progress of first Mauro Engel and then Lucas Auer, but who knows who's even going to get to the end of the opening lap. Certainly Jordan Pepper on pole position has the key starting place, so crucial at Valencia.
This camera from Pepper's diffuser looking back at the 37 cars behind him. Gottfried Grasser, team boss of that 63 Lamborghini, looking pensive as we get on to the start-finish straight.
Absolutely right cause to be pensive. Yesterday, quite a few of the teams had their heads in the hands by the cars being tilted off and spun around at turn 2. Let's hope today is cleaner. It should be controlled. Waiting to see all 2x2. One car starting from the pit lane, that's the second of the Winward Racing Mercedes. Their main car, the yellow and green one, the championship leader, it's down in 16th. Waiting for the lights, it's a long hold, then a quick flick. Who's made the better start? Looks like Aurelian Panis has possibly got his nose in front. He'll have the bigger sweep. Come To You Racing, Aston Martin weaving around midfield, and then Panis trying to go to the inside. No, let's try the outside. But Jordan Pepper, well, advantage to him and tucked in behind. Marvin Kirchhofer moves up into second place. And looks like the team WRT BMW has been scattered a little bit wide. And how many places? About, oh dear, the championship rival, Mauro Engel, gained place over place, gained about 6 places, but then ran too deep up the hill into turn 2 and has probably given them pretty much all of those back again.
Yeah, it's been a good start for Pepper and Kershaw for the inside. They've dropped the VDS silver car, and at the moment that's the car holding back the WRT car of van der Linde. And yes, you could see Engel, he did a Hail Mary into turn 1, it worked out. He tried the same move into 2, the dirty part of the track did not work out. I think he's gained, but not as many as he needed to, as we get this drone shot now. Side-to-side contact for 8th place at the moment. That's between Alex Acker and Max Jensen. Very clean opening sector thus far.
Certainly was. So a yellow sector, so someone somewhere has left a car on the grass. Whoa. And oh dear, Ben Green just not having any luck. And the Walkenhorst Motorsports Aston Martin going for a rotation as well. So a yellow sector on the circuit, not thus far affecting Jordan Pepper. He's starting to pull clear. Safety cars clearly still sitting on the track. So that will bunch the whole field up. But in terms of places gained, actually, Mauro Engel gained 3. He had gained about 6, gave about 4 of them back and picked off another one. But importantly for the Grasser Racing team, they started on pole, they maintained it. And how about that? That was a live FPV lap, a drone shot following the cars around this circuit. Fantastic skills to fly it so well. Fantastic skills from Jordan Pepper to convert that pole position. And for Emil Fry Racing, they had disappointment yesterday when the car they ran for Verstappen.com got demoted from victory to 4th place overall. A disappointment again for another car from their stable. That's the Ben Green Constellapalainen Ferrari. Clearly over and out for them. And that will be limping its ball, having to be picked up and brought back to the pits. So line astern behind the safety car for our field. And Benji Goethe, we heard from him on the grid, all he can do is stand aside with Tom Fleming and watch the first part of the race. But at least he knows his car has moved up to 2nd place in this race. And that place gain could be absolutely vital. We won't do all the maths yet. We know it was very, very tight on points with the top 4 crews covered by, get this, after qualifying, it was eventually just 2.5 points covering the top 4 crews. How many points for a win, Joe? 16.5. The differential back to 2nd is 4.5 points. It's 12 points for 2nd, 9.5 for 3rd. Keep those figures in your mind. We've got a lot of racing to do before we have to top those up.
Yeah, just trying to find someone with front damage, because the amount of rear damage Ben Green's got, someone must have helped it. Yes, the tyre has flailed and taken some there. Chavez with the wild ride as well. And the Valkenhurst Aston Martin has had to box. Looked like a simple rear right puncher. Did well not to find the wall and did even better to get out the gravel trap there. But he got turned around by someone where we're looking, and he stays on the lead lap, importantly, for that car. They've had a rough weekend. Contact yesterday at turn 4 with Lucas Stoltz, for Chavez as well in the car at the moment, and then so they've had it hard so far. The championship protagonists all in the mix. Engel 3 places up to 13th. I think he might have been just outside the top 10 into turn 2 as the Ben Green car gets taken away. So watch Engel, he's already far left, and that really helps him open up the space. And you can see 59 just getting to the inside there. Kirchhoffer, he then claims it. He's looking to try and get past Pepper still as well, as we can see here. Look how close they're running as they go to green. Kirchhoffer bump drafting Pepper. That is an amazing feat of driving there, just to make sure Pepper's got the momentum. Pepper will actually be very thankful, considering he's just been hit by another car, because that made him clear of Panis. Panis, look at that side-to-side contact. Keep an eye on Engel now, braking. He decides to try and go round the outside of the ComTU car. He gets forced onto the curb, loses grip, and then suddenly cars stream past, and he is then demoted back a few places. Was clean all the way through the top 10 though.
Yeah, well, Mauro absolutely knew he had to roll the dice. He did. He gained about 6 places on the run down to turn 1. Up the hill he went, and then, unfortunately, trying to turn it off the painted line at the edge of the circuit. Definitely couldn't get the traction and gave back at least 3 or 4 of those places. However, he has moved up. And let's take a look at a replay from the start, riding on board the 96 entry, which is the Rutronic Racing Porsche. It started from 5th on the grid. Oh, so super tight. Little bump there. Team WRT BMW just giving a bit of a kiss to Aurelian Panis's Mercedes, which that covers off the inside line, but you can see looking for space around the outside the top. Such a tricky corner. You're often out of position running up the hill into turn 2, but then you've got to have compromise. Not everybody got compromised, because clearly we ended up with a safety car because of Ben Green being given a bit of a thump.
Yeah, go driving from Sven Muller there. You can see the dash lighting up, traction control working overtime as the tyres still coming up temperature, full of fuel as well. Safety car in this lap, that's why Pepper's backed up the field. When's he going to go? He's in control, but remember, once he goes, he cannot stop, and Kirchhoffer just hunting him down. Kirchhoffer has stopped weaving. He is just waiting for Pepper to drop the hammer. They're going slowly in 13. There's not much time left to go at the moment. And this is the shot. This is the leader. When's he going to go? He's waiting. They're getting close to the brake zone for the final corner. Then it really goes advantage for the rest, because Kirchhoffer now knows he's got to go soon. The turbo power of the McLaren versus the naturally aspirated. We go on the apex of 14. It's not a bad jump, but Kirchhoffer's done well. That's going to be 3 or 4 tenths as they cross the line.
Yeah, can he stick in the toe? If it race finishes like this, Jordan Pepper will be champion. He's coming to this race 4th on points. Came to this event 20 points down with only 34 points to play for. But like the start, he's nailed it. Aurelian Panis is having nothing of Kelvin van der Linde. He's dived up the inside, forced the BMW wide, but van der Linde's not the sort who's going to back out. So he challenges him up to 2, can't do it. So fighting language there, and the Rutronic Racing Porsche closing right in. Sven Muller sensed them maybe half a chance, particularly if van der Linde will start attacking the car in front of Aurelian Panis. Panis is leading the silver class by some margin. But right now, they want him out of the way. They don't want those first two cars of Jordan Pepper and Marvin Kirchhofer, 2 of the 5 cars with chance of this championship title, gaining any fractions of a second.
Yeah, is the Panis Mercedes here being a Mercedes team player and holding up Van der Linde there for Engel in the Mercedes that's currently 13th. Different teams, of course, but manufacturer preference may be just a motivation for Panis.
Perhaps that's where Mauro Engel went at the start, just before the start of the race, popped up to the leading Mercedes, which is Aurelian Panis on the front row. Anyhow, it's all gamesmanship, but I tell you what it is, all fantastic racing around this circuit. Twisty, 14 turns, only the one straight effectively, but many a move has to be hatched in one corner, completed sometimes a couple of corners later. So, any change at the front field? No, Jordan Pepper still leading, Marvin Kirchhofer in second in his Garage 59 McLaren. They are the outsiders, if you will, in this 5-car championship challenge, but they've got track position. Aurelian Panis, if he can stay where he is, they will gradually just gain a 10th. They've broken the toe already back to that Mercedes in 3rd place. Look who's out of line in the background. Mauro Engel, he's trying to pick people off one at a time, and he really is making decent progress. Matthias Lismont, tick, another place gained.
But that was a WRT BMW. I expected that to be harder work for Engel. WRT not seeming to deploy the team tactics there, and Engel is the man on the move in this race at the moment. Yes, it's hard to overtake here at Valencia, but you didn't have to tell the drivers that yesterday because there were lots of good overtakes, and at the moment Van der Linde seems to be struggling with the pace of Panis. Yes, the dirty air affecting these cars, but these second gear corners, all sub 100 kilometers an hour apex speed, the aero really not doing much, so it is down to mechanical grip. Van der Linde still on the back of Panis. He had the best restart. He was only a 10th of a second as they went back to green. Muller going in super deep there. That was a mistake. Is he trying to catch the eye of Van der Linde, or is that Porsche not handling how he needs?
Well, we've got more than 50 minutes remaining in this 1 hour, but if it finishes as it is, the car leading the race, the Grasser Racing Lamborghini, will take the title. They came here way down on points, but as it is, if they stay where they are, but if we have a place change, a Benji Goethe, Marvin Kirchhofer car with Kirchhofer at wheel moves ahead and the race comes to an end, they will be the champions. However, don't discount Kelvin van der Linde and Charles Wirtz. We're looking at them still bottled up. That's van der Linde tucked in behind that number 10 Boots and VDS Racing Mercedes and catching them, but sort of catching them, then falling back and catching again is Sven Muller, also in the championship hunt, but the Rutronic Racing Porsche, I can't tell if it's quick or he's just having a few problems, but here comes the move and the place change about to take place. Van der Linde down, looked one way, went the other, and in all honesty, Aurelian Panis didn't make it too hard for him.
Yeah, Panis jinked, and then Van der Linde went, I can jink again then, and Kelvin got the move done. Great move. Now is unleashed. Marvin Kirchhofer in the 2nd place McLaren there will now suddenly look in his mirror and go, this is a different proposition. Rather than me just being able to follow Pepper, I'm now going to have to worry about Kelvin van der Linde, who at the moment, pace-wise, I think could be on the back of Kirchhofer in the next lap and a half. Look at the gap he's already pulled over Panis. Can Muller do the same to the Mercedes to keep 4 championship leaders inside the top 4?
And there in 12th position is the 5th of the challengers, equal on points in the championship lead prior to the start of this race, having gained ground yesterday with a solid result from maybe the only championship challenging car that was at the sharp end of the grid. Everybody else was further back, and pretty much everyone else got taken out on the opening lap. That changed the scene. So looking through the classes, leading the race outright, therefore leading the pro classes, Jordan Pepper, car number 63, a Lamborghini. Leading the gold class, running in 5th, 6th place overall is Louis Pret in his McLaren. Silver class, Aurelian Panis now down into 4th place overall, and leading bronze, he's had a really good start, is Mauro Pulcini in the Ziggo Tempesta Racing Ferrari.
Yeah, that gold class battle on track between Pret and Lullen is the championship as well. Whoever wins out of those two on the road will win the championship as well. So it's now swung in favour of the 58 car for Garage 59. What can Kirchhofer do for Garage 59 in the pro car? And he just seems to be hunting Pepper down at the moment. Pepper just starting to move to the inside, just to have a good look at Kirchhofer's straight line speed. If you stay in the wheel tracks, it's quite hard to judge the closing distance. Just felt like Pepper there, just trying to work out where the strength of that 720S Evo is. In case Kirchhofer gets closer, he's already got him marked of where the defence needs to be at its most robust.
Now, one of the things I just need to consider, Joe, is the fact that yesterday, of course, victory was eventually given to the Grasser Racing team, but they had the entire race where the car giving chase, the number 59 McLaren, had approximately 2 corners in the race, and then the damage, we saw the front end being driven off by another car. They didn't get to race here, didn't get to the feel of the afternoon conditions here at Valencia, so they're sort of on the back foot.
Yeah, definitely. As we see this Gold Class battle, I was speaking about 3/4 of the lap ago, and at the moment it is advantage there by a single point. They got a pole position. That was a point. That shows you how important every point is by the end of the season. Lullen did the fastest lap of the race yesterday in this 69 car, but at the moment unable to do anything about Louis Pret. Yes, he's got pace. Yes, he's sticking on the back, but no move yet. Louis Pret just starting to potentially lose the back of Muller in front. The tyres will be going through their second phase now. At the start of the race, they were fresh, they were great. Now they're starting to get worked potentially too hard by these drivers. Fuel load coming off, negating some of that, but the lap time starting to fall away. That all changes again in the pit stop. Expect the undercut to be strong again. Cars will pit as soon as the pit window opens with 35 minutes remaining, and we saw the undercut being worth as much as a second a lap yesterday for the first 3 or 4 laps for the second driver.
Yeah, and particularly the bronze class drivers that will be doing the second part of this race. They are very quick, as we saw yesterday when we had an outright pole position for the Kessel Racing Ferrari. At the moment, Dustin Blattner in that car before handing it over to Dennis Marshall is down 4th in class, but they are leading. Look, it's 7.5 points ahead of Basha Mardini and Bastian Boos with the Lion Speed Porsche. However, it was a larger lead at the start of the race. It's coming down, but certainly we know that Dennis Marshall just can weave magic with that Kessel Racing Ferrari, and likewise Bastian Boos does a very, very good job with the Lion Speed Porsche, but at the moment the Porsche is in front of their own respective battle.
Yeah, Neubauer trying to work through the field after he's off in qualifying and then got a grid drop for going more than 80 kilometers an hour under red flag condition that he caused. Pepper, last lap was phenomenally quick, wasn't it? Fastest lap of the race, 32.9, the only car in the 32s. He gapped Kirchhoffer by 4/10, who is now in the grasp of Kelvin van der Linde.
That's so interesting, because just a few moments ago we were discussing the fact that now Marvin Kirchhoff is going to have to look backwards as well as forward. I didn't expect the BMW to come closing in so quickly onto his tail. So suddenly the pressure is off our race leader, Jordan Pepper. He can relax and run his natural line, and he's also about far enough to break the toe to the chasing McLaren, who has got a toe being given to the car behind him. So look for even more progress for Kelvin van der Linde. The first 3 cars pulling clear and still doing a fantastic job in the silver class Mercedes. 4th place overall, still resisting Sven Muller, is Aurélien Panis. Good run from the French driver.
This is so hard defence. This is exactly what Pepper will be wanting. The McLaren has 0 pace. We saw this yesterday, the sister car, Pret, had nothing to defend against Pepper, who's leading this race. The car looks lethargic. It's got understeer. I was speaking to Marvin after qualifying, and he said, I had nothing balance-wise. The McLaren seemingly out of the setup window after a few laps, and he is hemorrhaging time right now. Aggressive defence. He knows he's got to hang on to this championship. He can't do anything about the car in front, but he can do something about this 32 BMW.
Certainly can, but of course when he's having the corner like this, having to drive like this to keep the BMW behind him, he's taking more out of the rubber, which is even more of a gift for the race leading Lamborghini. Margin over a second now. That is actually pretty comfortable in GT World Challenge pace. Now pace over the last 5 laps, well, it's been very much in favour of Kelvin van der Linde. As you can see, he's taken chunks in the last 2 laps. One of them wasn't the best, but since then it's been getting tighter and tighter. This really high shot, fantastic view, but is there going to be a door open at some stage? Still too early for that, I think, but with every lap, you can see Marvin Kirchhofer is having to fight harder and harder to defend the progress of Team WRT. And if you said yesterday to Team WRT, they were starting 23rd on the grid, that they'd have a chance to come into the final and be this close to front, they wouldn't have thought it was true.
This is going to be hard for Kirchhofer to defend this time, the run of the BMW. He'll cover the inside, I'm sure. And then van der Linde's got the choice to try and go around the outside. Kirchhofer isn't. He's decided. He's going, I'm losing too much time defending here. I've got to go and look at the stop line speed. That's why the BMW able to get the move done. Kirchhofer, I think, sensibly realised I'm losing too much time to Pepper. He's 1.4 up the road. I'm defending a position, but potentially losing the championship. I'm going to have to let my teammate Benji Goethe deal with this in the second half.
And absolutely fittingly, while you were there, we had a fantastic AWS graphic showing the fastest cars in the straight line, and all 5 were BMWs, and what car just made a move into second place? The BMW, the leading BMW, Kelvin van der Linde. Now let's see what he can do about setting off after the Lamborghini. So this, talk about the pendulum swinging from Saturday to Sunday, it's changed absolutely massively. Can anybody stop this amazing run from the Grasser Racing team? And yesterday, this car, the number 32 BMW, was taken out at turn 2 on the opening lap, damaged, limped back with the left rear suspension, certainly not the angle it set off into the race. They repaired it. They calmed Charles down. They sent him out to do some testing. That was vital. They got Charles back into the game. Now his teammate, Kelvin van der Linde, he nailed a really, really good qualifying position this morning. That was, talk about a tale of two cities, a tale of two races, 2 days, whatever you want to call it. But now he's closing in. So when it looked, they came here with the championship lead by the smallest of margins. It looks like it was all gone, but now they are right back in the hunt.
It really is. Two South Africans as well, first and second here, Pepper versus van der Linde, mates on and off the track. Let's see if that is still the story in 43 minutes time from now. Kirchhofer seems to have steadied the ship. Yes, he's lost a bit of space to the BMW, but it doesn't look as bad as it was. Top speed is actually the 4th place car here of Panis is the fastest. Then Hugo Cook, Louis Pret for the McLaren there. So a good mix of cars through the apex speed of turn 1. Chris Lolland there still behind Louis Pret, unable to do anything of that, and that would be the Gold Class Championship going away from them right at the last moment.
Yeah, and I tell you what, with Sven Muller being stuck behind Aurelien Panis' Silver Class Mercedes, that would be frustrating. And Rutronic Racing, you know, they did become the outside chance here. They had to finish in the top 3 positions with disasters for any of their rivals. But I think for Sven Muller and Patrick Niederhauser, it's going to be too much of a mountain to climb. And as I say that, here comes the move, but it's not going... Sorry, that's further down the order. That's the sister car. I was going to say, they weren't fighting against an Audi. And that was Luke Hartog trying to gain a position also. But really for the 96 car, which is their championship challenging car in the Pro class, I think these early laps of the race have been difficult. It's just the background of the shot. They're still running in 5th place.
Yeah, I just think this BMW seems to be getting stronger and stronger as we look at top speed through the next right-hander coming up turn 12. And it is Chris Lolland, the sim boy, knows how to do it in real life. We're not bored of saying that yet. Super impressed with him all season, then Lambo, then McLaren, then Mercedes, and another Lambo. So a good split there, but Chris Lolland, the bravest, through the hardest corner of the lap, in my opinion. What's the lead gap? Last time passed 1.3. It dropped to 1.2 after sector 2, and as they cross the line now, we'll get another update to see where this gap is manifesting to. Down to 1.1, another 10th. It's only going one way. Engelhardt probably doing the best thing, not watching our live pictures, getting ready, because he could be in the car in just over 6 minutes time.
Yeah, quite extraordinary. So having been passed for second place, Marvin Kirchhofer doesn't have any answers, but he's probably not having to hit his time. So the pace relative to the average speed in class, we've just seen the graphic, each of the last five laps, Kelvin van der Linde has gained on the average class position, but he only cares about one car. He's already dropped the Garage 59 McLaren, who's falling away behind him. It's the best part, 1.5, almost 2 seconds back in 3rd place. It's his pace relative to the blue and white Grasser Racing Lamborghini. There it is, still Jordan Pepper in front, fellow South African racer Kelvin van der Linde. He and his brother Sheldon have done a phenomenal job over the past decade or so, based themselves in Europe, and he is chasing him down. But you're quite right, the pit window may be coming through. By the way, a drive-through penalty has been issued for car number 270. That would be Ricardo Batista for causing a collision. Maybe that was the one that clattered into Ben Green's Emil Fry Racing Ferrari. Yep,
that makes sense, doesn't it? Van der Linde with the most derogatory thing you can do as a racing driver in the car by flashing the headlights at a fellow pro. And that won't faze Pepper, but Kelvin van der Linde is starting to get the kitchen sink to be thrown. And just to give you some metrics, just looking at HH timing, that BMW 4 kilometers an hour quicker at the end of this straight than the Lamborghini in front. That is a huge illustration, but the Lamborghini is the fastest car in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So lap time being generated in a different time. Look at the super slow-mo, the deflection in the tyre. Of course, it's a sprint race. The drivers don't care about looking after these cars. They've got to get them to the end of the race as quickly as possible by any legal means.
Right, the gap was 1.3 seconds, 1.2, 1.1. It's down to 0.8 of a second now. Kelvin van der Linde closing in on Jordan Pepper. Let's listen to a radio from the Team WRT car in second place.
Let's go get him. Pepper's your man. Let's go get him.
It's just a diversionary tactic. No, let's go get him. The battle is on. And just remember, one little ace up the sleeve of Team WRT. as you pointed out, running through yesterday's pit stop time, they weren't just fastest, they were fastest by over 2 seconds. So that is something they will hope to replicate. And Grasser Racing Team, they've not been too shabby in the pit stops either. They're going to have to really, really raise their game when these cars come in. They may come in on the same lap, which will make it really exciting. They may not. Let's find out. But first and second, and pulling clear all the time, nearly more than 2 seconds back to the third place car of Marvin Kirchhofer. Aurelian Pan is still doing a great job in behind him, but Sven Muller will be sweating away, running in fifth, wanting to be fourth, so at least he could do something and hand over to Patrick Niederhauser closer to their championship rivals. Meanwhile, though, Mara Engel has advanced from 16th up to 10th. Remember, he gained about 6 positions, lost about 6 positions, keeps on fighting away, but it's becoming an outside title hope for them.
Yeah, frustrating for Engel because actually he's the 4th fastest driver anyway, so even if he's not in clear air, he's very quick, and we can see those lap times there powered by AWS. It's Van der Linde, Pepper, Kirchhofer, Engel, then Lullen. So our championship protagonists in both classes right at the sharp end.
Right, what we could see there is we saw the run through of the first 10 cars and more. There is Mario Engel. We know he's 10th. His next target is going to be Luke Hartog. We already saw Luke doing some overtaking in the second of the Rutronic Racing Porsches. But this is tricky for the Manfilter team. I mean, it absolutely almost fell into their lap yesterday. And they start this race equal on points, but unfortunately starting 10 places and more further down from your 4 championship rivals means you are required to be on your knees before the start of the race and offer your Sunday prayer.
Sparks getting thrown up by the Lamborghini as it bottoms out over the curb there. Engel now with a Rutronic Porsche in front. They could be trying to help the sister car of Müller as well. Hartog very quick in his own right. He's made 6 places as well, but don't expect Engel to get past that Porsche easily by any stretch of the imagination. So time until the pit window. We've got to go past the pits once more, and then they should be able to box, although it will be tight. This final last sector short, so we'll work out as they cross the line. But Pepper starting to work the car, that slide through 12. Van der Linde on the headlight flasher again, just trying to give it everything. And like I said, it's a bit of an underhand tactic, and I think what Pepper should do, and what I used to do when I was in this series, is just get on the rain light and flash it back, just to say, I'm not phased. I've got some mental capacity if you want to play that game with me, bro.
Yeah, send a little message in Morse code. But looking with that extra BMW straight line speed, definitely the strongest weapon in his armoury. Almost as close as these 2 cars were on the opening lap when we saw that fantastic rear shot from the pole starting Lamborghini. Bit of a kiss, but a good run from Jordan Pepper through turn 1. At least defends his position up to turn 2. And this is the point on the circuit where the Lamborghini has the advantage over the BMW. So another lap is where, and it may be this debate about who's going to make the passing manoeuvre gets handed over to their teammates.
Yeah, they've got to do one more lap, and Soda, most of the top of the field, is actually the 25 car, the Santalot car, I think is the first that could pit. So the top 14, by my rudimental math, are going to have to do another lap. And at the moment, Pepper seems to be weathering the storm. Sparks kicks up again. That will just be the bottom of the chassis grinding out. But these drivers do not care to look after these cars.
Absolutely not. Just to keep an eye on the McLaren in 3rd place. He's fallen back by getting almost 3.5 seconds now. Marvin Kirchhofer gave it his best shot, but look how he's almost at the back of the picture. He in turn has a little bit of an advantage, 2.5 seconds over Aurelian Panis, but it really is time for the teammates to step up. Charles standing patiently, or so it seems, from the outside waiting. All along though, that straight line speed of the BMW is very much a tool that is going to be in their holster, something they could possibly use in the second part of this race, and maybe yet Kelvin van der Linde fancies a crack. He's certainly trying to unseat our race leader, Jordan Pepper. These are wily competitors out to the edge, but importantly not belong. Not diving for the pit lane. They couldn't because it's not yet open. It'll be open in just about a dozen seconds. And side by side he goes. Here's the straight line speed. Did he need the toe? Are they going to have 2 door mirrors when they get down to the first corner? On the outside, not their place to be. The move is started. Is it going to be completed? Will we have the change around at the next corner? They're looking for position. I think that's done by, that is a, well, phenomenal job there, but it took 2 to tango, and Jordan Pepper did his utmost, but the straight line speed, he had no answer for it.
Just couldn't close the door in time, could he? I was surprised he didn't get to the inside. We go on board with him now, and this will be the illustration. The Lamborghini's been strong in this middle sector time-wise, so we might be able to hook up to the back of the car. Now it's going to be a straight race into pit lane. Interestingly, the pit lane positioning for the 63 cars earlier and into the pit lane, so they will be in the fast lane before WRT. So if it's close, WRT will have to wait to yield to go back into, like when you're waiting for a granny to come past you at a junction. That's potentially what's going to happen to the 32 BMW in pit lane, I suspect, this lap.
Right, we always just feel sympathy for the mechanics when they have to rebuild a car after an accident, but I also have sympathy because this is their moment coming up. Who is going to get the pit stop right? It's going to be in, out as within minimum time. Already a car. They need to get that car out of the way. That's the sister car. It doesn't look as though it's about to get going. Get the dolly wheels underneath it. Imagine if the championship pivoted on that. Let's hope they do get it pivoted. This car, their outright championship hope, does not get interrupted. You don't want a championship settled by something that's just an extraneous element. Well done to the crew.
That's not what the mechanics need, though, to focus, and they're both going to box this lap. The undercut too strong where you can't, pushing all the way to the line as late as they can. Pepper doing well to get down to the speed limit more efficiently, I think, than the 32. This is now a straight race on pit road.
Can you imagine? We're just talking about the pressure coming to the mechanics. Suddenly the crew have to get the other car, the sister car, out of the way, whatever its problem was, and slow down the pit lane. Anyone caught speeding is going to be a problem. Right, is the crew in position for Grasser Racing Team? Driver is, most certainly.
Yep, they were ready. Car went up quickly. Engsler getting in. Van der Linde getting out of this. Charles Wirtz getting in. Slightly deep, knocked over the lollipop. Third tyre getting done for Grasser. The car will drop, it will fire, it will go. Driver change is complete. Pepper gets out of the way. Same for WRT. Good driver change there. Final tyre being done. This is the race from the drone.
On the deck, about to pull out, and he just gets out in front. So I'd say absolutely nothing gained by Grasser Racing Team, but against Team WRT, they didn't lose anything. So job well done. Talk about force majeure, maybe half a second gain by Team WRT.
How much did WRT want it? The front mechanic on the front bumper dived for the line to make sure he was over the white line before the car went. He was full Superman mode after a very, very efficient pit stop change. Now, the second dynamic at play. Different drivers, different set of tyres. What have we got? It is now Charles Wirtz in the 32 versus Luca Engsler in the 63.
Right, the big question is, can the Garage 59 McLaren keep going? And if you stay out, oh, here we are, Luca, oh, dearie me. Mauro Engel stayed out for a further lap, but he's now caught in traffic. He would have seen that. There's Luke Hartog in front of him, Rutronic Racing Team. Don't forget, there's a Rutronic Porsche in the overall battle as well. It's the outside challenger, Sven Muller, at the wheel of that. That's been changed over to Patrick Niederhauser in the pits, but Mauro Engel, he has done everything he possibly could in this race. That brilliant start, he'll have lost a second or so there. That will be immensely frustrating.
Yeah, Hartog, being a bronze driver, was always going to go long. There's a good slowdown from Engel there, but actually Lulham massively held up by Pret, who I think was held up from the Come2U car there, the 270 car, nowhere in the race. That will be frustrating again for Engel. This is going to be, unless we get a safety car, the 48's out of it in my opinion. Yes, that's a big call with 31.5 minutes remaining, but I can't see them being able to do anything as 32 is just going to blast past them and have a 25-second lead over that 48-man filter car.
Yeah, one of the advantages for Charles Wirtz having taken over, he doesn't have too much traffic immediately around him. He can settle down, but he's stretched the margin over the Grasser Racing Lamborghini behind. Over the start-finish line they go, and the gap between them, I'd say, is about 1.2 seconds or so. The Garage 59 McLaren down the hill after them. Looks not to have lost any more during the pit stops, but this is the one. Yes, the form really came to them, and they rescued points where they almost worked to be won, and going out absolutely side by side. But the Garage, well, I don't know about that. I don't know how you read that, but the Ferraris seem to let them through.
I can't believe that Vermeulen rolled out of that. He was in the fast lane. I think they'll get done for an unsafe release. I don't know why Vermeulen gave him the position, in all fairness. The Winwood Manfield team have to roll the dice, but for me it's an unsafe release. They're already in the fast lane, but what have you got to lose? So you might as well roll it and see what happens, but expect to drive through for the 48.
Yeah, certainly side by side is frowned upon in the pit lane. It was right at the exit, as Joe explained. You can understand the dynamics of it, you can understand the emotion of it, but a rule is a rule. We are not the judges, though. We are not the people standing by the scaffold, standing by the gibbet. And when all the final pit stops are done, we've still got about 4 or 5 more cars still to come in. Luke Hartog hasn't pitted yet in the second of the Rutronic cars. Now, let's look at the gap. There it is. That's the visual gap between the cars that are running 4th and 5th, but effectively 1st and 2nd in this race. The Team WRT BMW, having just worked its way to the front before the pit stops, now has got a tiny bit of breathing space, but it's a question of what Luca Engsler can do to try and keep up. He knows there's prodigious straight line speed, and look at the attack already from Charles Wirtz, getting that car airborne and then down to the deck through turn 12. Such a tricky corner. Get it unbalanced on the exit. You've got a lot of scooping up to do.
You really do. And last laps within a tenth of each other between the BMW and the Lamborghini of Engstler. Now in the background, traffic might come into play as we look at the 58 car. Gold class battle rages on. He would have been happy that Engel got in the front of Vermeulen and held him up on pit exits, and that at the moment has been a strong stint opening for Tom Fleming, who's taken over from Louis Pret.
Almost all the runners at the moment are picking up fastest laps. The fuel load is down and fresh set of rubber and pressing on. But still, Luke Hartog owes us a pit stop. He's in the lead of the race. Charles Weerts will assume the lead, Engstler and then Goethe. They'll be the first three.
So I was looking at the lap time of Fleming being good, but the pit stop was bad for the Garage 59 car. They lost 12 seconds, so they've dropped off the back of the 69 car. Apologies on that. So they're now third in this race. They would lose the championship to the 69 car of Vermeulen. So massive advantage for the Verstappen.com car, running in length overall right now.
We'll give you the overall positions for those in the bronze class because we're still waiting for some of those to make their final pit stop of the sprint season. Bit of debris, bit of rubber debris flying off the track there. And talking about flying, Charles Weerts is really trying to be as smooth as possible in the race leading team at WRT. I say race leading because when that Hartog car peels in to make its pit stop, that number 32 BMW will be at the front of the pile. Talk about a change in form from yesterday. Out after just 2 corners of this race. But maybe, just maybe, the fact they came back out, did some more testing in the remainder of the race, this could be the difference. Clearly the car is set up very nicely indeed. And at the moment, the gap between first and second, last time it was 1.6 seconds. It seems to have some form of stats. It seems to have stayed the same. Benji Goethe in 4th, effective 3rd position, going beautifully. And still, the Panis Gazzo car, the Boutsen VDS number 10 Mercedes, leads the Silver Cup class, but Maxime Oesten's getting a little bit closer in terms of position, but not on the track.
Yeah, interestingly, the race leader catching the 81 Mercedes, that turquoise car, now driven by Marvin Dienst. Just as a side note, the sister car to that Mercedes I'm talking about, Dienst, is the Winwood Mercedes, the 48. Not suggesting anything, but just as a side note, there is our gold class leader, Vermeulen, that was held up on pit exit, but now leading class, now leading the championship as it stands.
And in terms of track position, in terms of pit stops made, it means Lucas Auer, taken over from Mara Engel, that yellow and green Mercedes, the Winwood entered car, is up into effective 8th place overall. So 8 places gained since the start of the race, but there is still a suggestion about leaving the pits 2 by 2 in the pit lane, that hurried exit between these 2 cars, the number 69 Ferrari. Oh, someone running a little bit wide there and coming to a halt. It's a Lamborghini, but for Grasser Racing Team, it's the sister car. It's obviously been released from the garage. That just pulled out of the way. Nice sunny day. You can see the shadow of the drone flying around above these cars. Absolutely brilliant images here. And now that slingshot down towards the fastest infield corner, fastest corner of the entire lap. Turn 12, how much curve do you take? Boof. Come back down to deck, and then immediately you've got to turn to the left.
So our final car doing the pit stop now, Hartog handing over to Perez there. So we will have the exact order of all the cars after the pit stop, and it's Weerts, Engstler, Goethe. Gazzo now taking over from Panis. It's going to be Max Oesten up to 5th, 2nd in the class. That's been a good run for the Barradine car. Then our other championship protagonist, the 96 in 6th. But at the moment, this is massive advantage WRT.
Let's hear the thoughts of Kelvin van der Linde.
Kelvin, what a stint that was. What a difference as well from Saturday to Sunday. What have you unlocked? How have you found this pace?
I think it's just the will to win that we've unlocked today. I think everyone is really taking out the last little bits out of themselves. And yeah, that was a stint of my life. Start was difficult. I got stuck behind the Mercedes for a long time, and that was, yeah, in my mind I thought, wow, I need to get past him as soon as possible because the front 2 were getting away. But once I got past him, I felt we had good pace, and yeah, in the end we were able to go for the lead.
You're pumped. What sort of car have you handed over?
Yeah, I've handed over a fast car, that's for sure, but the Lamborghini looks just as fast, and that's giving all of us a lot of nerves now in the box, so it's going to be a sweet finale.
Well, it's got to be a lot of sweating, another 25 minutes or so to go. This is the passing manoeuvre down the start-finish straight. Super, super close. You can put a skin of paper between them, but not much more. But down the inside, into the lead, went Kelvin van der Linde. Jordan Pepper, his fellow South African, didn't have the answers, but he still tried it. And that was important. It was just before the pit stops, and after the pit stops, maybe half a second gain. And as they're circulating, it's now 1.5 seconds clear. But you know what? the Lamborghini is starting to close in. Luca Engster at the wheel. Here is first and second coming up the hill to turn 1, turn 2.
Great replay, very fair. I was expecting more sort of ball war between the two South Africans, but they kept it clean, and that's how it should be for a championship. But I think that was the championship deciding move, and at the moment no one can do something about the 32 car. Van der Linde and Wirtz clear on the championship, and actually it's how they're finishing on track is how the championship would finish right now.
Now, one of the most important things actually was that pass on Aurelian Panis to not let those first two cars have any more time clear of the third place silver class Mercedes. He got it done, closed down, and then of course he did the passing manoeuvre on Jordan Pepper. But if they come away with the positions as they are now, they have a 7-point championship win. Earlier in the season that might have seemed quite likely, but the closing up after yesterday's race, when they came away with a, well, not so sweet 0, really has put this championship back into fierce war. But where they needed to be, they're at the head of the race. Now, this lap, it does look as though Luca Engster is starting to close, certainly around the middle part of the circuit, but he knows when he gets onto the start-finish straight, he'll lose out to the BMW. Silver Cup leaders, Cesar Gazzo, now at the wheel, taken over from Aurelian Panis, starting on the front row, not having any trouble in the first few laps. Well, that's a far better formula. Yesterday, their car trickled off the track, came to a halt. You really had to feel for them. Yeah, and that took the championship away from them. They've been super fast all year. That bad luck yesterday was very unfortunate, took the championship away, as I said, but today they've been superb. Great pace from both drivers, Panis and Gazzo, and actually Gazzo now starting to catch the McLaren in front of Benji Goethe, and at the moment the McLaren has no pace. What I would like to start to manifest is what would happen if we had a safety car on a restart, because for me the 63 Lambo is the faster car out of the two, so suddenly that gap that Wirtz at the moment may be managing at the 1.6 would become a bit more interesting. But at the moment, this number 10 Mercedes in its own bit of real estate, it currently is 5 seconds behind the car in front and 6 in front. So nice and clear for them to the second place in the silver class, and then the other championship protagonist, the 96 car, which is now the longest shot for a championship. Just looking down the various classes, Aurelian Panis is leading the silver class, and the group that won the title yesterday, once Panis's car had broken down, it was leading the class anyhow. But Jamie Day in the Aston Martin is down in 5th in class. So imagine if a handful of points had been picked up by Panis and Gazzo, they would still be in this title hunt. However, they didn't, and they're out of it. And now, if we finish as is, Chris Lullum and Thierry Vermeulen looking at their Ferrari now, Verstappen.com Racing, they will put this one to bed. Louis Pret and Gilles will fall back almost in the grasp of Gilles Magnus and Paul Everard, but you picked up a very slow pit stop. To what do you say, a dozen seconds shed for them in the pit stop for the Garage 59 McLaren crew? Exactly that, 12 seconds lost for them. So that's where this position has been gained for the 69 car, and the pace of Thierry Vermeulen very strong at the moment, has gapped the Lucas Aura car behind him. Here's our bronze class leader now with Bastien Boos aboard, who took over from Mardini, who had a mega start to give him a good chance here, and now just able to circulate at a good pace. So in bronze, it will still be Dennis Marshall and Dustin Black, only a 5-point advantage. We're looking at the car that's challenging, and Bastien Boos is now leading the bronze class, and Dennis Marshall is in 3rd position. So if it stays as it is, the title will go to the Kessel Racing Ferrari, but all that Bastien Boos can do is keep pressing on in the class lead. That's what he's doing. He's just behind the halfway point in this 4-class race, doing a great job for the Lion Speed GP team. Here comes his Porsche down to turn 1. No one immediately behind, so he can at least focus on his line, and that's the fastest way to go racing. Exactly that, not having to worry about anything too much. Your vision will still be up. He'll be looking ahead, just making sure the cars in front of him aren't tripping over each other. Moncini and Gachet are close in circulation, and you can sometimes spot the accident before it happens when you're reading the body language of a battle. What are you saying now? I think I saw an accident happening in the backdrop. I think it might have been the Walkenhorst Aston Martin looked to go straight on at turn 1. It may have rejoined the circuit. It has rejoined the circuit, but I saw a flash of something not turning into the corner, but it wasn't Bastien Boos, going very nicely indeed for Lion Speed GP there. Yeah, you're right, the car just went on and rejoined, lost time in sector 1, but all okay, so no chance of a full course yellow or safety car just yet. Yeah, 4 seconds shed in that first sector by the Walkenhorst Aston Martin, but back on the track. Right, 63 chasing in 2nd place. Luca Engster, Len, as it calls him on the windscreen. That's L for Luca. The rest, as you can see, he's losing ground now, not gaining. So BMW in a sweet spot. Bit of debris off the racing line. That's not the sort of stuff you want to hit, and hopefully you stay on the racing line. But gap between first and second was 1.6. It's now 2.2. Can the McLaren close in with Benji Goethe? What a great run they've had the second half of this Sprint Series season. Taking wins at Misano and ahead of this car, actually, at Magny-Cours as well, both times being pushed all the way to the finish. Benji Goethe is beginning to close, but it's going away. He's 7 and a bit seconds down on the race lead, so I'm afraid for Garage 59, well, we've got 20 minutes remaining or thereabouts. Things can still happen, but you have to say the team that had its head in its hands yesterday, but took them out again and put the car up to repair it, get it back out on the track. Team WRC with their BMW are going very, very nicely indeed.
Yeah, and Engel now handing over to Lucas Auer. Just not been their day, has it? And after looking so strong all season in this championship, suddenly the form has eluded them when they needed it. And I remember the win that they had earlier on in the year at Brands Hatch was phenomenal, and then it seemed to just stay on the podium for so much of the season. But Valencia has not been kind to them thus far.
Certainly hasn't, and Team WRT really picking up the pace through the course of this meeting, and that's why Lucas Auer can't pick off the silver entry of Gilles Stadbader, who's just putting his car where he wants it, and that was very quick in the race yesterday, that car. But Charles Weerts, another lap on the board. That means 25 have been completed, 2.6 seconds clear.
Fastest lap of the race now to Dennis Marshall in the 74, the bronze car. Dennis Marshall was on pole yesterday, showing how fast he is aboard that Kessel Ferrari there. And just actually looking down the order, I can't believe the pace drop off for Engstler on the last lap. He lost 4 tenths. The gap has now grown to 2.6. Has the tyre gone? Has he realised that I can't attack? Am I better actually to cruise at a pace that's not killing the tyre in case there were a late race intervention and he could then be fresh on the restart? But at the moment, Charles Weerts has this very easy going for him. The gap now growing to 2.6.
I'm still trying to gather my thoughts to imagine the despair yesterday. Qualifying 23rd, actually 25th, but promoted 2 grid positions. This is the Charles Weerts car. I'm thinking, okay, I've just got to get to the halfway point in the race, hand over to my teammate. You get to survive turn 1, you do not survive turn 2. You didn't even see the attack coming. It was someone across the grass. And he must have thought, it's over and out. But they fought on. And this could be the reward for them. For Charles Weerts, he's already been a sprint champion. That was back in 2022, sprint champion in 2021. Never been a GT World Challenge title for Kelvin van den Linde. It seems like an oversight, but he could be heading towards collecting the first of his titles in this particular series. And I'd have to say it'd be really, really hard earned, and that's the best way to win a title.
Yeah, the other thing that might be affecting Engstler is the track limit warnings. He's on 4, 6th one would be a 5-second penalty, so he's probably just nursing that to make sure it's okay, whereas the lead car is only on 2 and Benji Goethe behind is also on 2, so the 63 Lambo effectively on its last warning.
I was just watching the Mercedes from Winwood Racing Team in the background of our shot. It could do nothing about the pace of the BMW down the start-finish straight, so this is the frustration for Lucas Auer. He can get close to it the whole way around between effectively turn 2 and turn 14, but once he gets onto the main straight, no chance of gaining. In fact, the car that appears to be gaining is tucked in behind. It's now 1 and a bit seconds down. That's Thierry Vermeulen. There he goes in the Verstappen.com racing Ferrari, run by Emil Frey Racing for them. And almost having the quietest race of all is car 96. And that is not where they wanted to be. Patrick Niederhauser can't get past Maximussen. He's running in 6th overall. He's been trying for a while, but certainly again, it does seem, as we've seen the graphic from time to time, in the straight line down the main straight, that really does drop from the final corner down to the first corner. The BMW that he's chasing is just as quick as all the others, so they have a fantastic load of grunt in the straight line. That is their key.
Yeah, the BMW just disappears on these short straights, doesn't it? And doesn't matter how close you get in the corner aboard this 96 Rutronic Porsche, you can't get the move done at the next corner because the BMW has already gone. And for sure, the Porsche balance is okay. And you typically get a bit of understeer on the way in a Porsche, but great traction on the way up. But this is the pit straight. As the speed rises, that BMW, for a big car, seems awfully small.
Well, it should be punching a great big hole in the air for the chasing Porsche, but losing ground the whole way down to the braking point, closing in a little bit, but then of course it will lead on gate out. So that is the secret weapon for BMW. Straight line speed up the hill. Actually, straight line speed is only good at one particular place. It's on that run down the start finish straight. no real other straights for it to gain an advantage, but we have seen the punch out of some of the tighter corners. That works for them as well. So Patrick Niederhauser, very talented Swiss racer, is just going to have to just stay in as close as he can, hope for a mistake from Maxime Houston in front of them. But Maxime, very promising driver too, is looking neat and tidy at the moment.
Yeah, aggressive line from Niederhauser there, swinging onto the entry curb to try and help. Some cars doing it and riding the curb well. BMWs don't seem to be able to do that. But again, this is the most frustrating thing as a driver, hustling the car as hard as you can and unable to do anything about this blockade that's going ahead. And of course, Max Houston is doing a good job and he won't care what's going on behind him. And at the moment, he's in a very good position, second in the silver class.
Again, fantastic high-up shots from the drone, just showing us where the cars are placed on the circuit. Lovely rear shot as they come out of turn 14. First and second going through shot. It was 2.6 seconds between race leader Charles Weerts and the 32 BMW from TWRT and the chasing Grasser Racing Lamborghini. It looks though it's probably going to be there or thereabouts. Comes down by 1/10 of a second for Luca Engstler. Maybe those slightly slower laps that you thought were just about saving the tyres, but in the background can't see any particularly clear evidence whether that's worked or not. Right, silver class, we've still got a car in 4th place and one in 5th. That's very good for them in this overall battle. So the younger crews, Gazzo, but they're 8 seconds clear. That Panis car he shares with Panis for Boots and VDS, 4th overall, 8 seconds clear of Maxime Houston's Team WRT BMW. So looking very tidy indeed. The last 2 laps, every single one, relative to the average pace in the Pro class, our race leading car has been edging further clear. So some lap, the biggest gain was 7/10 of a second, which is mighty. Certainly some of the other cars in the Pro class will be not running at the same pace, but again, all you have to have is excellence, but you have to just keep it going and going and going. The clock though is still going, only just over 13 minutes remain, 2.5 seconds clear. And for the team in despair yesterday, they could be ticking the pages off like a calendar in an old Hollywood movie.
Easy done. The only thing that won't be easy done is the traffic that Charles Weerts is catching as this battle rages on. Still here, Niederhauser versus Houston here, and this is a lunge. We actually saw Aijin Kuven do a same thing in the Porsche in the FIA Motorsport Games nearly a year ago, and as a move that I'd never seen at Valencia, and he made stick, and maybe Niederhauser saw it too and was just lining it up. The problem is, once you've lined up once, you've given away the element of surprise, so maybe it was more of a feint as they come into the last corner. And again, we see the Porsche very good getting to the apex, the BMW running wide, but opens up the steering and gets the power down, and that M4 again starting to disappear down this long pit straight.
Right, so the cars running 1st, 2nd and 3rd look as though they're going to finish 1st, 2nd and 3rd in this championship. Lucas Auer and Maurer Engel, they'll be 4th as it stands there, just within the top 10. They're in 8th position, but for Kelvin van der Linde, Charles Weerts, if they stay where they are, it will be job done. Benji Goethe, who took over the Garage 59 McLaren from Marvin Kirchhofer, is having a similar lack of pace relative to the front 2 cars. So it's BMW, Lamborghini, and the best of the Lamborghinis, but it's not going to be good enough today, surely, for Garage 59. They've had some purple patches, but this weekend has not really been one of them.
I know it sounds like I wear a tin hat all the time and I'm a conspiracy theorist, but one of the 3 cars in front of the leader that's going to get lapped is a Grasser GRT Lamborghini of Engelhardt. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and maybe that statement won't need to be revisited, but just as an FYI.
I'll move just slightly further away from you in the commentary box, just in case there's incoming armament. But anyhow, it's a thought, and we have to gather these thoughts. I'm also keeping a look at the penalty screen, and there are penalties coming through, but not for the front runners. And I tell you what, you were just talking about the number 19 Grasser Racing Lamborghini. That's picked up a 10-second penalty for blue flag violation. Why do they wave the blue flag? Because faster cars are coming through, people are catching, and if you're not paying enough attention, just imagine if that happened when the front runners come through. So you set the scene, I've augmented it a little bit. Other cars, but largely cars at the back end of the field. A couple have picked up penalties for pit stops that were too short. One of those is for the number 81 crew. That's the Winward Racing Mercedes that started from pit lane. So none of the front runners. But the front runners looking comfortable, and that margin has slightly come down between Charles Weerts and the lead of the race and the chasing Lamborghini of Luca Engstler, but only down to 2.3 seconds with 10 and a bit minutes left. That is absolutely manageable. Lucas Auer, all he can do is keep on pressing on. Let's listen to the radio for car 32, race leader.
Turn 1, this is our 3rd warning. 3rd warning, no more. 8 to go.
Misbehave, the pocket money will be taken away. Right, that gives them caution, that gives them margin as well, because as you say, it's the 6th one that's the one that has the bite.
Interestingly, the engineer, Will McKelvey there, not lying to the driver. Normally the drivers add, the engineers add a bit of VAT on top and normally say one extra just to make the driver listen even more. Missed apex there from Charles Wirtz. Is that a distraction? Is the car starting to go? There's the traffic. So the 81 Mercedes, that's a Winwood Mercedes sister car to the 48. We then have just a random ComTu Aston Martin, and then we have the Grasser car, the number 1 car. They're all battling. As this going to hold up the leader with 9.5 minutes remaining. It's definitely a dynamic that's going to come into play.
And I think 2 of those cars just in front of our race leader, Charles Wirtz, have already got punishments. Oh, and they're trying to overtake on the start-finish straight. This is Marvin Dietz trying to gain a place against the Aston Martin. And up ahead, the Imperial Racing Lamborghini. So this is maybe offering just a glimmer of hope for the chasing Lamborghini. Just coming into shot now, white with the blue bonnet of Luca Engstler. He's just over 2 seconds down. He's got to see how this traffic falls in front of Charles Wirtz. And Charles thinking, great, I'm just getting to the twisty part of the circuit. I'll catch them, but will they see them? Will they let him pass? That's the big question for Charles Wirtz. All he can do is get onto their tail and hope they have noticed and will find a point on the circuit where they can pull wide. But it's such a twisty infield here that it really could compromise any driver. It could be the Lamborghini that's compromised or our race-leading BMW. We can't tell you. Let's hope neither, but it definitely could be a factor here. Down to turn 8 they go. Tricky corner.
The emotions Charles Wirtz is feeling. He knows he's going to win the jumps if it stays like this. He's nervous. He's apprehensive about the traffic. Is that emotion going to turn to anger at some point? It's like when you land at an airport late on a Sunday night. You're trying to get through as quickly as you can, and you get stuck behind a blockade of slow-walking people, and you just want to burn through their head with your laser eyes. That's what Charles Wirtz has got to do on these remaining laps. He can't afford to lose much more than the second, because then that will be advantage to Engstler in that Lamborghini. Catching in this now Grasser Lamborghini sandwich.
Well, they're all fighting for position, but he's unfortunately 33rd through to 35th position, so not really. Okay, Rodrigo Almeida, he picked it up, but slightly delayed our race leader, but he's moved aside, so well done to the ComTu Racing Aston Martin driver. 1 off the list. Then the straight line. This is where the BMW's mighty. He's got to try and catch Marvin Dietz. Mercedes, in turn, that is looking to see if it can gain a position. It cannot. Christian Engelhardt moves across his bow, fully entitled to do that. But this is the car you suggested might have a role to play. Christian Engelhardt, CEN on the windscreen. He's not yet being challenged by the race leader. There is the race leader, car 32, BMW, Charles Wirtz, in the middle of a 5-car pack. He needs to get to the front. And the last 2 laps have been very good indeed for Luca Engstler. He's closed the gap down. It, remember, was about 2.6 seconds. It's down now to 1.7. But how will the traffic fall for the pair of them? What's left on the clock? We've only got 7.5 minutes remaining in this 1-hour race.
Dust and gravel getting kicked up in the face as well, the 32, so changing track conditions. That was close to a track limit for the 32 car there. Just about kept in contact with the white line, so should be okay. Keeps one more life safe for now. That ComTu Aston Martin is actually very quick, isn't it? Staying on the back, and at the moment, Engstler will be annoyed at that. Wirtz now 2 more cars to go. No time lost this lap because of traffic, but I feel that will change in sector 1 the next lap. And that ComTu Aston, that's the last thing Charles Wirtz would want to see on his rear view camera. The radar system there would have been going wild on the 32. He would have had to look in his right mirror to make sure he wasn't going to get harpooned, and he is now in a very tricky situation.
Rodrigo Almeida sort of learned from the leader, learned from the quick guy. I'll stick with him, but certainly that little probe down the inside when they went into turn 11 would have had a little frisson of fear for our race leader, but Charles Wirtz has just dropped him a little bit. Now it's the turn of the chasing Lamborghini in second place. Luca Engstler back at this 5-car train. So our race leader, middle of the pack, his orange BMW, 2 places further back, flashing the headlights, the white and blue Lamborghini. But that straight line speed of the Aston Martin is pretty handy, so Engstler has not picked him off. And if they stay as they are, this is absolutely fine for Charles Wirtz. Aston Martin pulls out of the way. Jordan Pepper, his car's in second place. Nothing he can do apart from chew his nails, and if he's run out of those, choose someone else's.
Yeah, and Engstler now back behind directly. The ComTu Aston getting out the way really well. So the battle rages on. It isn't just the lead battle that rages on. The battle for 33rd rages on in front of them. WRT staff looking nervous, manifesting it in a different way. And you can see that Aston Martin sticking on the back of Engstler. But at the moment, it is now just Engelhardt to go. Where's Dietz gone? I've missed that one, I'm afraid. But now just 1 car to worry about.
Yeah, I think he was in the background of the shot. Looks like he was going slowly, but suddenly this is advantage coming towards the second place Lamborghini. There we are, car number 63, Grasser Racing Team, the Liqui Moly livery car, but surely it's too late. 5 minutes and some small change remains, but there is still another car in front of our race leader, Charles Wirtz, still waiting to be lapped. And it's the sister car. No, it's not. I beg your pardon. It's not the sister car. But it's another Lamborghini and Christian Engelhardt. No, it is a sister car. Of course it is. It's Grasser Racing Team's car. So
Grasser running through this weekend. And the 81 just went through the gravel at turn 1. So while Jordan Pepper was mouthing something, I don't know if it was voodoo magic, but the 81 skipped through the gravel A-OK, but no contact there as the battle goes on. Under 5 minutes remaining now.
Down the main straight, the gentle decline from turn 14 down to turn 1. Gap between first and second, 1 second on the nose, and still the sister Lamborghini in front. Christian Engelhardt, a multi-talented driver, many times gets out of the way, does the polite thing, and his teammate comes swinging through. I reckon it's just under a second now between first and second. 4.5 minutes on the clock. All young Luca Engster can do is chase, chase, chase. And can Charles Weerts swallow the pressure? Can he suck it all up? What is lying ahead in terms of traffic? And actually, for now, nothing for quite some distance. So that is very much advantage Charles Weerts, I feel, at this point. Jordan Pepper, he's breathing every now and again. Looking at him, the shot in the frame in the top right-hand corner. There's nothing more he can do. Christian and certainly Luca Engster is throwing absolutely everything at this charge. It's surely under a second. 0.777 of a second. No traffic up ahead is. And Kelvin van der Linde, he knows he can do no more. His teammate Charles Weerts is the driver who's got to get the job done. How important was that overtake just before the pit stops to give the track position to the Team WRT BMW? Oh, a little bit swing of a tail there from the chasing Lamborghini. Nothing is being left in the tank at the moment. What's left in the tyres, and certainly pushing on now. Charles Weerts, the body language of his BMW is getting more and more violent. He's absolutely on the ragged edge.
I think we're just going to squeeze 2 more laps in as well. It's going to be tight as they cross the line, but I think it could be 2 more laps after this one. So, yep, Engster still with a chance, but has he got any pace to do anything? Yes, the gap's back under a second, but Weerts managing it. Track limits equal 4 each now. So Weerts has picked up another one since we had the radio message saying no more. So they've got 1 more. The next one would be 5 seconds.
Okay, I'm just going to revisit some old ground. Until yesterday's retirement on the opening lap, that number 32 race-leading Team WRT BMW had scored in the top 10 in every round. Compare it to the Grasser Lamborghini, 2 absolute no scores in the opening round, and also a drop ball, 1 place out of the points at Misano. But since then, they've had a first, a second, a first. They're running second now. That is why they're challenging. But obviously, had they put a point or 2 in the bank at the opening round, it could have been very different indeed. I think Charles Weerts has done enough to stay in front. 2.5 minutes remaining. What is ahead in traffic? Still, they're going through turn 6, and it's clear all the way down to turn 8. So nobody surely can interrupt their flow. And I just think now Charles Weerts has done enough. But the way that Luca Engster is throwing this Lamborghini around, he is absolutely trying to find every nanosecond he possibly can.
I would just be worried if I was Engster, if I could catch the back of the 32, where would I make the move? Because the car very strong in a straight line in front of him, that BMW, so it would have to be a lunge, it would have to be somewhere in the infield, and then could it get clean? The gap is coming down visually. This has been a mega sector 2 for this Lamborghini. So yes, the pace is there, but the move would have to be a high risk one. But a championship on the line, the risk I would say is worth it if he's going to get the chance.
Okay, complete outside point here. If they collide and go off the circuit, the championship will go to Benji Goethe, running in 3rd place overall, but he's 8.5 seconds back. He has no role to play in this. He is the outsider. It's down to these 2. What's left on the clock? 1 minute 30. I think we've got time for this lap, just, and 1 more. By the smallest of margins, your maths is very good, particularly for a Sunday.
Exactly that, and yeah, I would agree with that. And Engster just seems to have found a second wind of pace, and that's what the graphic's showing here. Yes, some of that was traffic, especially on lap 34, but the last 2 were clear 2/10 quicker on lap 36, and that's the important one, because that was the last time by, as the traffic now dissipates and everything is being thrown. They're still on the same track limit warnings, so they will be saving 1 for the last lap potentially if they need to use it as one final roll of the dice.
Well, absolutely enthralling. This is tip-top GT racing. Yesterday we had tip-over GT racing with a lot of incidents on the opening lap of the race, but this is keeping us on the edge of our seats. Can Grasser Racing Team make it 3 wins out of the past 4 races added to a 2nd place? That's propelled them from really nowhere in the championship into this battle. But can Team WRT, the arch winners of titles, do it again? Yesterday, you'd have thought not a hope. Today, after a decent qualifying position, starting from 4th on the grid, patience in the opening stint of the race from Kelvin van der Linde, and now Charles Weerts is taking it right to the edge. Staunch defence. Jordan Pepper still hasn't breathed for the last 4 minutes or so. He's surely going to have an exhale soon, but unfortunately it could be in disappointment, because I just don't think Luca Engstler is close enough to make a charge. And as you said, once they get out of that final corner next time around, he won't have the pace down the start-finish straight. And so it should finish in this order. Father Everts, he's sort of not quite knowing what to do. They've won so many titles since he set up Team WRT with Vincent Voss, but each one is sweet as the ones before, you can be sure. And after the despair of yesterday, to come through today would be just the most phenomenal revival.
4 kilometres and counting for the championship. Vincent Voss there with Verts, the 2 team owners of this team. We talk about WRT pit stops all the time. Again, it has helped them this weekend. The rebuild during race 1 to get the drivers back out to make sure the car was okay. And I think that's the realisation, the sad realisation for Jordan Pepper aboard the 63 Lamborghini. The championship now ebbing away. 2 kilometres to go. Anything can happen, of course, but at the moment, odds on for the 32.
Yeah, at this point in the race, I just want to tip my hat to Cesar Gazo and Aurelian Panis. Started second, a silver class car from the outside of the front row, and they're still there, just outside the top 10, but importantly ahead of even one of the overall championship challengers before the start of this race, still keeping the Patrick Niederhauser-driven Rutronic Porsche behind them. But talking behind, the car that is behind in the battle we're looking at now, the car in second place, not first, Luca Engstler. He's given it a really, really good shot. But here we go. We've got turns 12, that's coming up now, 13 and 14 to go, and then just the blast down the start-finish straight from turn 14 to the checkered flag. This is the final lap, not just of this race, the 10th sprint race of the season, but of the entire championship, the Sprint Cup. It looks though it wasn't going to be theirs. It looks though it was, but for Team WRT, it is surely going to be their championship title. 001 on the windscreen. There is the checkered flag. The lights flashing. Charles Weerts gets the job done, and joy unabounded for Kelvin van der Linde and the squad. Bang, the title is theirs.
Wow, emotional. Yesterday, nothing. They got hit. Pepper saying well done to Godfrey Grasser, their team owner. WRT winning it on track, nice and fair as well. That's what I like to see across all 5 contenders. They kept it clean. Lucas Auer there coming in 6th in the end. So our 5 championship leaders really inside the top 6, as now Vermeulen takes the Gold Club Championship too.
Just quickly looking for track warnings, people getting their final limits, but winning the bronze class today, Bastian Boos Lion Speed GP, 3rd place for Kessel Racing. I think that should be just enough, but Kelvin van der Linde, anybody in the garage he hasn't hugged yet, don't worry, he'll redress that balance very shortly indeed. But that was super, super tense.
Didn't know where to look at times, did we? And yeah, I have to say the move he did on Pepper down the pit straight, maybe Pepper will watch that back and go, could I have defended harder? Should I have defended harder? At the time, it was the right thing to do, but hindsight now, potentially, that was the championship move, of course. And Alphonse Alzubert from the 777 car there as well. And it's a team effort, it isn't just this 32 car, the 30 car and the 777, all helping with data as well, and the pit stop crew getting well versed.
During all that, 16th up to 6th, that was all they could do. Lucas Auer building on the work of Maro Engels, so they were the ones on the back foot, and unfortunately for them, it wasn't to be enough. But starting this final round of the series, with the sprint series, with 5 crews capable of taking the title. The Rutronic Porsche crew knew they were the outside shot. This crew started equal in the points lead, but with their rivals many places back further down the grid, they delivered. But to do so with a win, we just said the maths is easier for all the teams in the top 4 positions. Take the win, you'll take the title. That's how close it was. And at the end, the points margin opened up in their favour. But for Team WRT, what a fantastic job, and what a comeback. Turn 2 yesterday, bash out of the race. Today, quite the reverse.
Yep, gold class champions that we said about Vermeulen and Chris Lullum. Congratulations to Emil Frey, Racing Verstappen.com there. I'm sure Max will be happy with his 2 drivers yet again. He's unearthed 2 really strong talents aboard that Ferrari. Of course, they would have been upset after yesterday's penalty, which lost them the race win, but today they win the championship.
Yeah, and likewise, the championship in bronze goes to Kessel Racing. 3rd today, that was fine. They had a sizable advantage, a 12-point advantage, so 3rd place lost them a few points in comparison to Bastian Boos and the Lion Speed team, but the title was theirs across the season and absolutely thoroughly deserved. So the sprint season is at an end. There may be some penalties to be applied, but I don't think anything's coming away the top crews, and they will enjoy their success, and I'm sure we'll have contrasting emotions when we hear the drivers down by the podium. But bang, the season has come to an end. Charles Weerts brought it home. Kelvin van der Linde pulled off the passing move to get in the lead before the pit stops. The crew did the rest, but Full marks to Jordan Pepper, who started, and Luca Engstler, who had the charge at the end to take second place in the race today. Race 10 of the series, just under a second down at conclusion. Benji Gerser and Marvin Kirchhofer worked hard. They didn't have the pace in the Garage 59 McLaren, and they come home third in the race today. And a brilliant run from the crew that would have been in the Silver Cup battle but for retiring yesterday. So Cesar Gazzo on Aurelian Panis, fourth overall. Really impressive result, their best run of the season. And they were ahead of Patrick Niershauser and Sven Muller. Outside chance for the title going into this race. They started the championship battle today in fifth, and fifth place today wasn't enough to improve that at all. Mauro Engel started 16th. His teammate Lucas Auer brought it home in sixth, so they climbed to the top. But there are top 6 positions had our 5 championship challengers in the top class. We had a few retirements at the bottom end of the field, most notably Ben Green taken out on the opening lap of the race. But Bronze Cup winners today, Bastian Boos and Basha Mardini. Overall winners, Charles Weerts and Kelvin van der Linde, and they are the overall champions as well. What a sweet way to do it. Earlier in the season, they'd have done anything to get a win, but a title win, all the more impressive. It is so competitive in the GT World Challenge. A slip here, a slip there, and the championship has almost gone away from you. And for the Grasser Racing team, a diabolical start to the season at Brands Hatch. No points in either races, put them on the back foot. They have fought back so hard and have just come up short. But listen to the radio of our champions, Car 32.
Well, guys, incredible race. Guys, you are incredible. You really made it work. Kelvin made you a legend. You are such a legend. And to the guys in the pit stop, thank you for everything. This championship is thanks to you. And to all other people that we don't see on track.
The release of tension. The joy flows to Team WRT. The boss there, always in his cap, Vincent Vos. He puts the team together along with Yves Weerts, and Yves' son Charles delivered at the end. But what an opening stint from Kelvin van der Linde. He did the overtaking, and it proved to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, Charles on the radio there, recognising the work WRT do at the track and away. That's the 7th driver's title for Team WRT in the Sprint Series and their 11th team's title. They really do set the bar, and we see that wherever they race, whatever championship they compete in, they are the yardstick. So congratulations to all the boys and girls that work at WRT here and back at their base in Belgium.
Giant trophy, and let's go down and have an interview with our winners and also our champions. They are the same people. He's going to have to lift a tall driver standing on the roof of a car. Quite hard to interview, but I can identify them. Charles Weers, and joining to bend the roof of the car, we've got Kelvin van der Linde taking the applause, taking the plaudits, and the release of pressure, the sheer delight. So caught celebrating as you do deserve to celebrate, particularly after yesterday's setback. They must have thought, oh no, this one has almost gone away from us. But it was almost equal on points. Let's get them down to join us and hear from our winners, Charles Weerts and Kelvin van der Linde, with Alex Legui.
7th driver's title, 11th team's title, unbeaten here for the last 3 times we've been here. Top 10 for every round. Boys, how does that feel?
That is so good. That is so damn good. First GT World Challenge championship for me. I had to try to keep up with this guy who's won I don't know how many, but it's been an amazing year. This guy's done an amazing job. It's been a pleasure racing with him, Team WRT. I'm so proud of you, proud of you, mate.
That pit stop was lightning fast, and then Charles, that stint, you brought it home beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm speechless for the performance of Kelvin today. He's been absolutely on it. I even forgot about me driving the car. I was just looking at him doing his thing. So honestly, you have my hat. Fucking hell, it was incredible. And then yeah, the boys in the pit stop have just been incredible as always. It was not the easiest race for me because yesterday with the heat I was quite sore, to be honest. But today it's the best recovery we could have wished for the whole team.
What's the pressure like before you did this race today, boys? Like, nervous?
It's massive. I think we went to bed last night, and obviously he was feeling super down and feeling hurt, and we knew we had a big job today. We knew maybe we didn't have the fastest car in qualifying, but we knew in the race we could come alive and we could show them in the pit stops, and that's exactly what we did. We executed perfectly, and honestly, Team WRT won us a championship this year. We've had so many amazing pit stops, and so I'm massively proud to come back from such a low to such a high. That's motorsport. That's why we love it.
Congratulations, boys. You just keep adding those to those top trumps. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for the pair. Apologies, just a little bit of high spirits and emotion there from Charles Weerts, but he fought so hard. And as he said, racing feeling a little bit damaged himself after that side-on contact. He didn't even see it coming. That removed them from yesterday's race. Nothing removed them from today's, the final, and it was a brilliant opening stint from Kelvin van Linde. Got it up just before the pit stops into the lead of the race, and it was a fierce, fierce challenge. Charles Weerts being pressed the whole way to the flag. Under a second down, under 9/10 of a second down at the end was the chasing Lamborghini. He did just enough, and that landed the title. And let's go down and join our gold champions, also class winners today. It's Verstappen.com Racing.
Well, you did it, boys. You needed to seal that title after we made history yesterday. We did it again today.
Yeah, exactly. We came with one goal this morning, and I think throughout the day we just applied that very well, stayed clean. Had a bit boring race, but very clean. Also a clean start from Chris, so that helped a lot, obviously, and then we secured it. So big thanks to the whole team, ML Racing, Verstappen.com Racing, supporting us. It's been a difficult year, but it's definitely some nice highlights.
It's been quite a year, and as you reflect, champion Chris, how does that word sound?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have predicted it to begin the year, but no, I'm super happy. We came today with one goal, and we achieved that. So I can only thank the whole team, ML for the support they've had today.
You look very emotional.
Finally, yeah.
Thank you, boys. Well done.
Well, emotion, absolutely the applicable sentiment to have there. Bear in mind that Chris Lallem has stepped up from a sim racer to champion in one season at this super high level in the GT World Challenge. And Thierry Vermeulen's been a very, very good partner in crime. Verstappen.com Racing, the Ferrari run for them by Emil Frey Racing, and they have been challenging at the front end wherever they go. But the experience they've gained this year, I'm sure, will lead to greater things in the years to come. But they held their nerve. This was a very tricky race meeting for a lot of the teams, a lot of incidents in race one and fighting back. And they've also fought back from the disappointment of taking outright victory yesterday and having it removed. But let's go down and join our silver winners, the Boots and VDS Mercedes crew.
Well, after Saturday's drama, that certainly made up for it, Aurélien.
Yeah, sure. Like I said this morning, yeah, we wanted this good result to finish the season, the sprint season, and we did it, so I'm really happy for the team. It was a really good race. He did a mega job on second stint, he was flying, the start was good, so yeah, we enjoyed this one.
Yeah, nicely done, yes, easy. That was an epic stint.
Yeah, that was a really, really good race. Aurélien did a mega job this morning with the P2 in quali, so it really helped me a lot. The team did a really good pit stop as well, so I was just driving and trying to get the P3 overall. I gave it all, but wasn't enough for the moment. But I'm still super happy with this result. I think we deserve it after all the issue we had this year, so I'm really happy to finish like that, even if we lost the championship yesterday.
Congratulations, boys.
So Aurélien Panis and César Gazot, they'll leave the season just thinking, what if? But they fought really hard and fourth overall. Well, that's a fantastic result for them. But yesterday, again, a bit like Team WRT, bouncing back from yesterday, both cars ending up with 0 points yesterday, but winning today. So really good to see them too. And Lion Speed GP also in as class winners today in the bronze class, Sebastian Buus and Basha Mardini. But for them, it wasn't enough to take the title. Here are the outright champions, today's race winners. Oh yes, Team WRT. Aren't the photographers so demanding? Anyhow, the championship is theirs. They can celebrate as much as they want, and you feel this will go on. But wow, what a record. 7th driver's title for Team WRT in sprint and 11th team title. And here is confirmation, eventually winning by 7 points, but bear in mind it was all square at the top of the title race this morning. Kelvin van der Linde and Charles Weerts, champions in the sprint series for 2025. Luca Engster and Jordan Pepper, if they'd started the season like they'd finished it, they would have been champions. Great form for the Grasser Racing team. And Benji Goethe and Marvin Kirchhoff at middle part of the season came on strong. 3rd across the line today, but it wasn't to be enough. They stay in 3rd position overall. And equal on points in the lead this morning was Lucas Auer and Mauro Engel. A poor qualifying session left them on the back foot. They couldn't recover from there. An honourable mention, 5th place overall, Sven Muller, Patrick Niederhauser, Rutronic Racing, Porsche crew, 5th for them. And for the Ferrari crews, they are further back down. You can see in 6th and 7th places overall. But for Team WRT, it's another title in the bag. But boy, did they have to fight for it. Let's look at the honours in gold. Chris Lullen, Thierry Vermeulen, class winners again today, and that was enough to just squeak them ahead of the Garage 59. Louis Pret driven McLaren had a bit of a rotten pit stop, and that really hampered their chances. But already Lullen and Vermeulen were ahead in the front of that gold class battle. Silence is not falling across the paddock. And let's take a look at the silver class. This was the only title battle that was sorted in yesterday's penultimate race. Kobe Powell and Jamie Day winning the title for Come To You Racing with their Aston Martin. But a real push by a car that didn't finish yesterday. Fourth overall today, Aurélien Panis and César Gazot. Second in the title race this year for Boutsen VDS. And of course, we have 4 championships, and it was tight all season, only 5 points at the end. Third place in class today was enough for Kessel Racing's Ferrari crew of Dennis Marshall and Dustin Blattner to be the 2025 bronze class championship. But Basha Mardini and Bastien Boos, really honourable mention for second place for them in the Lion Speed GP. Porsche and a Lamborghini in the top 3. Loris Spinelli, Dimitri Gazava for Imperial Racing. But this season, it was a fantastic battle in bronze. I'm looking forward to next year already.
The level of the bronze drivers has just come on so much, hasn't it? Dustin Blattner, Basha Mardini, Gavazza have been strung down. Lung's been unlucky at times as well. So every class, all 4 classes in this sprint series has been phenomenal, and I've enjoyed every single second of it.
So third place today and third place in the championship, Marvin Kirchhofer and Benji Goethe, Garage 59 McLaren crew. Second place in the race today. Winners last night after countback. Jordan Pepper and Luca Engstler for the Grasso Racing Lamborghini team, looking wistful and sad, but they couldn't have given any more than they did this weekend. But those non-scores in the opening round, they really hurt. For Team WRT and BMW, team representative up there being applauded. But let's hear the big award cheer coming up for this year's champion, Charles Weerts and Kelvin van der Linde. Oh yes, very, very happy indeed. And for BMW, for Team WRT, the title was won, but it went all the way to the final lap. So waiting for the presentations to come, look at the 25 champions. So Kelvin van der Linde, ready for the national anthem.
Oleg Karczewski, el ingeniero de pista de Pirelli, entregará los trofeos primero al tercer clasificado, la pareja de Benjamin Gert.
So as the strains the Belgian national anthem for the winning team, Team WRT strain, they fall away on the top step, their car, their crew. Charles Weerts, Kelvin van der Linde, they fought. It looks though it wasn't going to be their luck this year, but it's come back, an 11th title for them, for Team WRT, a 7th sprint title for the same team, phenomenal. And when they raise their trophies on the top, you can feel sure they thoroughly deserve them. First, the team trophy, but what a job, Joe Osborne.
Yeah, and the team representative there, Will McKelvey, we've heard him on the radio all year being phenomenal on the 32. And shout out to him, he started as an apprentice, as a fueler for Barwell Motorsport. He was my fuel guy at the 24 Hours of Barcelona. And there are our winners, van der Linde and Charles Weerts, heroes all season long.
And not just the race winners trophy, they now get the championship trophy, a very, very impressive piece of silverware that does appear to have the dust of Team WRT on it. They've won it quite a few times. It's back in their grasp again, but they had to really, really fight for this one. A fierce, fierce championship battle. All these top three crews really deserve accolades. They've pushed, they've raised the level of excellence to a level higher than ever before. So celebrations will be coming soon, but for Team WRT, they have bragging rights. And let's take a look at the Manufacturer Cup points. Mercedes came here in the lead, and even though they didn't win the title, they've extended it 1,033. So Porsche in second place, BMW closing in third, Ferrari, and then Audi. But will Mercedes be toppled? Still some races to come. So that's it from us. That's all the GT World Challenge Sprint Series from Valencia from the season. And we know the title winners. It's Team WRT. They have done it again. Join us in 2026.